Houston Aeros have the look of a winner. Game after game, Gamble has come up big, keeping the Aeros close and giving Houston a chance to win. With this surge, playoff hopes remain a possibility as the team continues to sacrifice and pull together. Tonight, the mission is clear. No dancing with wolves. Will the Aeros be worthy of a win? Saturday Night on Ice is next. Live from the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, it's Saturday Night on Ice. Tonight, the Aeros take on the Chicago Wolves in live International Hockey League action. A very pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Rosemont Horizon. I'm Adam Gordon. A big contest for the Aeros as they wrap up their weekend play with the Chicago Wolves. They lost last night in a shootout to the Milwaukee Admirals 3-2. And when you look at the standings, the Aeros are now 8 points back of the Atlanta Knights. The Aeros with their hands full tonight with Chicago. The Knights are in the Omni hosting the Indianapolis Ice. We'll hopefully have updates for you throughout the night. And as I bring in my broadcast partner, Mike Greenlay, the last few Aero games, they've had to come from behind. And when they count on big goals, there's always seems to be one Aero that's always heard from, and that's Kelly Hurd.
Well, certainly in the 28 games that Kelly Hurd has worn a Houston Aero jersey, he has had 51 shots. And guess what? He's scored on over 20% of those shots. So I think that's the guy I want to give the puck to more often than not.
Well, you talk about go-to guys in the Chicago sports scene. There is no better 1-2 punch in Chicago sports than Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen of the Chicago Bulls. They light it up. They make it happen here in Chicago. But the same can be said for the Chicago Wolves when you talk about their 1-2 punch of Steve Malte and Rob Brown.
These two guys really take a lot of the scoring for the Chicago Wolves. Steve Malte just scored his 4th hat trick of the year, and Rob Brown comes in tonight's game with an 11-point scoring streak, and that's going to be pretty tough for the Houston Aeros.
And that takes us to our Oshman's game plan. It's brought to you by Oshman Supersports USA.
Well, first of all, I talked to Dave Tippett today. He says we need to capitalize on our chances. They're getting the chances. You just got to put the puck in the net on the power play as well. Secondly, you have to pester Brown. The Aeros have pestered Brown the last 2 times, and he hasn't been as effective as he could have been if they would have left him alone. And third, the power play. 0 for 5 last night against Milwaukee. The Aeros are going to look to try and move it around a bit better and try and put that puck in the net.
And I think for the Houston Aeros, another key that you can mention is try not to get down early. They don't want to be coming from behind. Let's see if they can play with a lead tonight. When we return, we will chat with the head coach, Dave Tippett. That is next on Saturday Night on Ice. UPN 20's Saturday Night on Ice is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, by Columbia Healthcare Partners, by Chrysler Plymouth, by Dodge, by Jeep Eagle, and by Whataburger.
When you change everything and break the rules, you can expect a reaction. We sure got one. 4 Dodge nameplates were just named Consumers Digest Best Buys. So we're celebrating with savings on this Best Buy, Dodge Stratus. Stratus has more standard features than Contour, Altima, or Accord. Not to mention $1,000 cash back or 1.9% financing. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
You're a little tired of freezer-burned sausage links? You don't get that with Jimmy Dean's Heat and Serve. It's flavor sealed, keeps the freezer burn out, and the good country flavor in. Jimmy Dean's Heat and Serve. Flavor sealed for country goodness.
The doctor saves a dying stranger, but can he save himself?
I love you.
On a brand new Star Trek Voyager.
Monday night at 7 on UPN 20. UPN 20, the first network for the next century.
Welcome back to the Rosemont Horizon. I'm Mike Greenley, and I'm pleased to have head coach Dave Tippett with me. And Dave, since you've taken over this team, the offensive output has increased a little bit, which is good. But a lot of people thought with the talent that you have that there would be more of an explosion of goals. Can you attribute maybe this to the defensive style that you've implemented?
Well, a little bit. But, the other thing that we struggled with all year long was our goals against was almost 4.5, and you can have the most talented team in the world. You're not going to score 5 goals every night to win. And so it's a situation where it probably takes a little bit away from the offensive output. But on the other hand, it keeps us engaged and gives us a chance to win a lot more games.
Now, some coaches actually change the style of play from home and road. What do you do coming into this building as far as matching up lines and everything? Are you going to do anything different coming out on the road than you have been doing at home?
Well, you know, it's tougher to get the matchups that you want, but you just got to make sure that you know, you try to stay one step ahead of the other team. Sometimes the team at home, they'll try to match too much, and you can use that to your advantage. So there's a lot of different scenarios, but they have the last change, so you can't really worry about the matchups you have. They've obviously got some players that you've got to be concerned with, and guys like Brown and Maltese. But you know, we'll just play a good, strong team defense tonight, and every guy will do his job. All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck tonight against the Chicago Wolves. Thanks very much, Greeny. All right. That was Dave Tippett, head coach of the Houston Aeros, and we'll be back to the Rosemont Horizon right after this.
You could go someplace else, but you won't get IHOP pancakes.
What kind of pancakes does your restaurant serve?
The flat kind?
Only IHOP offers you the International Passport Breakfast with 2 crepe-style pancakes for just $2.99. Choose from German with lemon butter, French with orange sauce, Swedish with lingonberry butter, or 2 good old American buttermilk, plus eggs, bacon, and sausage. The one and only International Passport Breakfast at IHOP, just $2.99.
And they're round and they're flat when you make them.
Plymouth's Clever Idea Department has been on a roll lately. The next challenge? Come up with clever ways to save. Now get a great lease on the redesigned Plymouth Voyager. Choose your savings on Plymouth Neon, or even get this tantalizing introductory price on the all-new Plymouth Breeze. Oh, and they even named the event. Aren't they clever?
Welcome to the Rosemont Horizon, everybody. Adam Gordon along with Mike Greenlay as we get set for the third and final meeting, a regular season meeting between the Aeros and the Chicago Wolves, as the Aeros, who lost in a shootout last night 3-2 to the Milwaukee Admirals, but they come in really in a crucial hockey game. And it's funny, every time we talk about the games from here on out, Greener, they're always going to be big when you're trying to catch the Atlanta Knights.
Well, they certainly are crucial, and you have to look at the fact that the teams you are playing too, the Aeros are going to be facing some pretty tough teams down the stretch, but a good point for the Houston Aeros is the Atlanta Knights also will be facing some tough competition down the stretch, and yeah, definitely every game becomes important, and tonight is no less important.
Well, I'll tell you what, in college basketball they call it March Madness, but I think that's what it's going to be for the Aeros and for the Knights. That month of March, the Aeros have a tremendous amount of hockey games, a lot of them on the road, Fort Wayne, Kalamazoo a couple of times, so March is going to be definitely a maddening month for Houston.
Well, certainly. I think they play at something like 14 games, and when you're playing that much hockey, that's obviously an average of almost a game every 2 days, so the Aeros are going to have to really get their rest when they can and come out with maybe a few wins at the end of February to maybe make up for some tough games in March.
The lights are still dim at the Rosemont Horizon as we are getting set. They have just introduced the Chicago Wolves. The Aeros are out and just kind of loosening up, and I'm sure the house lights will come up, and it should be an outstanding hockey game once again. Boy, I'll tell you what, you talk about outstanding games. I don't think we could have had any more exciting of a contest, especially that third period when these two teams got together 2 weeks ago.
Well, when you have a team that comes back like the Aeros did in that game, it's always exciting.
And here's Wayne Messmer singing the national anthem.
You see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land
Messmer singing the Star-Spangled Banner. And again, for those of you that really follow the hockey world, Wayne Messmer, longtime public address, well, not public address, but national anthem singer for the Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League. And he used to bring down the house in the old Chicago Stadium. And then, of course, when he joined the Chicago Wolves as part owner, and he doesn't do it anymore. He did it one time to start the season, and now he's brought himself to doing it here. And I'll tell you, there's no finer voice when you sing the national anthem here in Chicago. I mean, that's pretty synonymous. As we get set for the Aeros and the Chicago Wolves, and let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. And for the Houston Aeros, it'll be the line of Kelly Hurd, Al Conroy, and Mark Lamb. Defensively, Mike Hurlbut and Gord Krupke. For the Chicago Wolves, they are going to go up front with a line of Steve Malte, Greg Walters, and Rob Brown. Defensively, Kevin McDonald and Steve Bancroft. And we are looking at a good goaltending battle between Troy Gamble and Wendell Young. Troy Gamble getting set. He picked up that terrific win against Chicago 2 weeks ago. And Gamble's numbers, 10-16-3, a 3.80 goals against average, 88.5 on the save percentage. The man that he beat 2 weeks ago was Wendell Young, 17-12-4, a 3.66 goals against average, 89.1 on the save percentage. Our referee tonight is Rob Martell. The linesmen are Roger Belling and Steve Campbell. Martell was the referee at the IHL All-Star Game in Houston this year. We're going to have a slight delay here as they're cleaning up, as those of you looking on UPN 20 see Rob Martell and his linesmen cleaning up specks of dust and particles. They have a terrific pyrotechnics show, and some of the sparks spill down and lay on the ice.
Well, you know, part of those fireworks that they have, it's a good thing they do it before the players come out on the ice, because I can remember skating around on the ice and having those things go off over your head. The natural tendency is to look up, and it drops in your eyes, and you can see every single guy go to the bench and wash his eyes out. I'm glad they do that before the guys are on the ice.
Hey, and some of those guys use too much hairspray. Their hair might ignite.
The Michael Jackson syndrome.
Oh, that's bad. We're ready to go. Lamb to take the draw against Rob Brown. Again, Rob Brown is the key to watch tonight. And when you talk about Rob Brown, even though Miles O'Connor isn't starting tonight, O'Connor will be a key guy to watch against Rob Brown. He got under his skin 2 weeks ago, and he always seems to be against the top forwards in the IHL. He had a good job against Julia a week ago. We'll see how he handles Brown tonight. Off the face-off, we're underway, and the Aeros have the puck in their own zone. It's Mark Lamb turning back in his own end. Lamb, the pass out to Al Conroy, and the Aeros are up ice. Conroy ripped the puck into the Chicago zone, bounds near side. Conroy picked it up. He tried to move it through Bancroft. Wolves chip it up the ice, and it's back into the Aeros zone. Hurlbut chased back for it. He's got Greg Walters on his case. Puck out at center. Here's Kelly Hurd along the left wing, trying to turn it ahead for Conroy and across the Chicago blue line, and the puck is dumped in. Aeros making a quick line change. 45 seconds are gone in the first. Just underway with a scoreless game. Steve Malte hits the line. He gets the puck in front, but it was knocked away as Miles O'Connor is there, but it came right in front for Doug Baralt, trying to center a pass, but it was knocked away, and back down into the Chicago zone it goes. Steve Goslin hustles back to play it. The former Houston Aero touches up, and icing is the call. Scoreless from the Rosemont Horizon. A minute gone by in the first.
I think you're going to see a pretty tough game, and Goslin is one tough customer himself. He likes to play a good gritty style. Dave Tippett has got his team ready for this game, and I think they're expecting the kind of game that you and I expect out of them, and that is a kind of game that's going to be maybe a little bit of payback, because the Aeros have beat the Chicago Wolves the last two outings this season, one at the Summit and one right here at the Rosemont Horizon.
Here's a drive by Goslin and a left pad save made by Troy Gamble. Puck is out at center, and the Aeros dump the puck in. Wendell Young came out this slow. In there after it for Houston was Freer. They blast away in a loose puck. It was jammed away. Chased down in the corner by Slivchenko as the Aeros move it around. Into the corner, it was taken away by the Wolves and shot ahead. It was pushed away by Eric Dubois. It's our first look at him since the trade when he came over from the Atlanta Knights, as the puck squirmed out of the Chicago zone. Donnelly could not quite hold it in. That is offsides, and the faceoff comes back to center ice. But Gord Donnelly, I'll tell you, since the new year, Gord Donnelly has probably been maybe the steadiest defensive defenseman for the Aeros.
Well, maybe he had some resolutions, but I tell you what, whatever he did, it's a good thing. Donnelly has really played well, and even last time in this building, I tell you what, he blocked a shot that could have saved the game, and very well did, I guess, as the Aeros came back and doing a good job defensively as well.
Nearly took it right off the melon. puck is in the Chicago zone. Aeros jump on it. Freer trying to move it along. Here's a pass for Freer. Had it knocked away. Dubois was in there. Jammed ahead for Tim Berglund. It's back out at center ice. Slivchenko hustles back to get it. Slivchenko floats the pass to Gord Donnelly as the Aeros move it up ice. It is Scott Arniel through the neutral zone. Dumped the puck into the Chicago end. Wendell Young came out to play, and he'll fire it along the boards for a waiting LaFrance. Darryl LaFrance for Chicago shoots the puck into the Aero zone. Chasing after it is Dan Curry. That'll negate the icing. Curry in the corner. Reversed it down low. Wolves trying to move it along. Here's a puck controlled by LaFrance. Moves it down the left side. It was Pankowitz who's out there as well with Darryl LaFrance and Al Secord. Pankowitz left side, turned the puck over though. It came out at center ice, and it's Doug Crossman. The former Denver Grizzly shoots the puck into the Aero zone. Gamble slows for Steve Jenks. Gives the pass up ice, and here come the Aeros. Valamont for DiPietro. Dumped the puck into the Chicago zone. Wendell Young slowed it. It's turned around by Crossman. Ripped the puck ahead out at center. Pankowitz looped the pass along the boards. It came to Pozo. Hits the line. The shot stopped by Gamble. He will cover up and hold on with not quite 3 minutes gone by in the opening period. It's a scoreless hockey game.
And Greg Pankowitz for the Chicago Wolves last year played a bit in Prince Edward Island. I tell you what, Chicago Wolves are glad to have him. He's a real gritty player. And like I said, you get a guy like him out there working hard, and a guy like LaFrance as well, and you've got a pretty good working line right there.
Face off to the left side of Troy Gamble. Mark Laniel, who had a terrific hockey game last night, set up a big goal with Lamb getting out in front for Al Conroy.
Well, I talked to Laniel today, and he said, you know, I asked him, you're getting a lot more offensive chances. He says, yeah, now all I have to do is start putting them in the net. But if he starts getting the chances, he has a pretty good shot. He'll start putting them in the net. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah, he hit a little bit of a valley earlier, but seems to have turned things around a little bit for him.
And a lot of that came off that shoulder injury. It's always tough to get back after an injury.
Aeros come up with a shot from Kelly Hurd, wings it wide of the net. Hurd turned it down into the corner, missed Conroy with a pass. Walters trying to move it up the boards. Mark Lamb was there to tip it away, and Conroy moves ahead with it. Here's Conroy in the slot, shoots, glove save by Wendell Young. A marvelous glove save, and the puck is cleared. So right off the hop, Captain Conroy lets loose with a drive, and there was a glove save by Wendell Young. Wolves turn the puck into the Aero zone, but Houston able to pick it up, and Conroy scampers to center. It was knocked away by Bancroft for the Wolves, but it's taken away by Lamb. Floats one, Hurd's in alone. Hurd deep shoots, he scores! Kelly Hurd! And he goes top shelf off the crossbar and in, and the Aeros jump out to a 1-0 lead. And now we've got Mark Lamb getting into it with Kevin McDonald. Those two had words the last time these two teams got at it. Kevin McDonald, I'm sure, will be heard from as well in this game, as he loves to get after guys, but the Aeros quickly got out there to bail out and help out Mark Lamb.
And Mark Lamb makes a good play as he sends in Hurd all alone. Hurd just makes a good shot right up underneath the bar, and it looked like Wendell Young dropped back into his net a little bit and gave Kelly Hurd that upper corner, and Kelly Hurd puts his 17th goal of the season in the net. And we talked about Kelly Hurd and his ability to put that puck in the net when he gets a chance. Overall, his shooting percentage is 15.7, but while he's been an Aero coming into tonight's game, 21.6%, so he is definitely putting his chances in the net.
It is his 12th goal as a Houston Aero, and now 2 minutes up on the board to Kevin McDonald. So the Aeros have a chance to add insult to injury here as they have the first goal of the game. They lead it 1-0, and they go on the power play.
Kevin McDonald leads the team in penalty minutes at 183, so you'll likely see him play relatively physical this game, especially against guys like Mark Lamb,
who got an assist along with Al Conroy on the first goal of the game, and the Aeros on their first power play of the night. We touched upon the fact they were 0 for 5 last night. Let's see how they do here. DiPietro through the neutral zone, springing Hurd across the line. Hurd cutting in, couldn't find it, and Bancroft will rip it away. It'll go into the Aero zone.
We talked a lot about the Aeros getting out early and not having maybe to come back in a game, and they're doing a good job right away.
Lamb shoots the puck to DiPietro and across the line. Here's Arniel looking in front, but couldn't get it to Hurd. Battle for the puck. It came to Lamb, base of the right circle. Centered one, but it got by DiPietro. Paul DiPietro scooped the puck down for Hurd. Back to the line. Here's Mark Lamb turning it a right point for Houston. He's got a minute 17 on the power play, but the puck is knocked away by the Wolves and shot down the ice by Doug Barrault. 4.5 gone by in the first. Aeros lead at 1-0 on Kelly Hurd, 17th of the Euro minute, 7 remaining in the Kevin McDonald minor, and the Aeros are up ice once again. On the man advantage, it's Mark Lamb through the neutral zone. Lamb hooked off by Barol, and the Wolves come away with it. Steve Goslin shorthanded for Steve Malte, and it's dumped back into the Aeros zone. Maurice has to go back as the Aeros were changing. They had no defenseman to play it, and now back to play it is Mark Laniel. 44 remaining on the power play. Laniel charging up ice with Valamont. Here's a pass to the right side. Freer trying to move down the right wing boards, chopped away by Goslin. Freer takes Steve Goslin to the boards. In there to try and loosen it up along the boards. It was Maurice, but it snapped out for Tim Breslin and out at center ice. Breslin, neutral ice, gives the pass to Malte, right wing board across the line. He tried to feed it back in front. I said Breslin, it was Berglund that was in there, and finally the puck is taken away by Valamont. It was Berglund coming down the wing with Steve Malte. Here's a puck right side. Conroy flipped it back for Freer behind the net. Scooped it back to the line. Here's a chance for Laniel. He winds, shoots, deflected. Wendell Young makes a save. Score! Was it Maurice? I think it was. He was battling in there after Wendell Young went down. The power play had just expired. It may be a power play goal by microseconds.
And Michael Maurice, in those microseconds you talk about, does a little juggling act with the puck. It bounced in the air a couple times, and Maurice bats in his 10th goal of the season. A good shot from the point and a good save by Wendell Young. But I tell you what, good second effort by Maurice as he stays with the puck, bats it in the net. I'm not sure if it's a power play goal, but it certainly is a goal. The Aeros lead it 2-0, and I talked to Maurice. He didn't know who he's going to be playing on the line with tonight, but I'm sure it doesn't matter when you're working that hard.
I think it'll be an even strength goal. I think the power play had just expired. So Maurice gets the goal. And the puck is back into the Aeros zone, and we've got Laniel. We've got a penalty, and that means we can take a timeout. Our score from the Rosemont Horizon, the Aeros up 2-0. We'll be back after this.
Circuit breakers, check. Window heat, on. Takeoff warning horn, check. Parking brake, set. Radio's radar and transponder, set and standing by. Sunscreen, SPF 15, that's a check.
Southwest Airlines is going to Florida with low fares on every seat, every flight, every day. Florida has never been closer.
Cool shades. On.
Not long ago, a new breed of Ram came to Texas. With Magnum power and big rig looks, Texas liked what it saw. Now we're making it our own with a special package for Texas. You get an automatic, AM/FM stereo, and even air conditioning. A lot of truck for as little as $15,921. Or lease for just $239 a month. But the only place you can corral one of these Texas Rams is the Texas Truck Stop, your Texas Dodge dealer.
Back at the Rosemont Horizon. Well, Greener, 2-0 Houston. I don't know. Can Dave Tippett possibly be any more happier about his team start?
I know that he's happy right now because the last few games the Aeros have found themselves falling behind right away, and I tell you what, it's a good feeling to be ahead.
Carl Valamont in the box for interference, so the Aeros will have their first shorthanded opportunity to try and kill off. Puck is in the Houston zone. It is Steve Malte right side. He's out there with Brown and Curry. Here's Brown, slips it down for Malte, base to the left circle. Malte cutting back along the right side, worked it back to the line. Doug Crossman snapped it back for Malte in the right circle, looking in front for either Brown or Curry. It came to Brown, centered for Curry, blocked by O'Connor. What a great play there, but it was held in by Crossman. Gives to Malte, looped it down for Brown, trying to feather one in there. He centered it, but it missed everybody, and it goes all the way back to center ice.
I'll tell you what, Steve Malte looking for someone on the back door, and Miles O'Connor makes a great defensive play. Otherwise, it'd have been 2-1.
Here's a puck in the Aero zone as Arneal is knocked off the puck by Curry, and it's shot the length of the ice by the Aero penalty killers. 13.5 to go in the first. 2-0 Houston. They got 1:08 remaining on the power play. Puck is out at center ice, and the Wolves shoot the puck into the Aero zone. Back to play it is Mike Hurlbutt. He'll crank one off the boards. Held in by Brown. Looped it down as it's controlled by the Wolves. Behind the net, Malte looks in front. Instead goes to Brown. Base of the right circle. Looks for a pass. Waiting. Goes to the line. Bancroft missed Malte, but it came back to Brown. Rob Brown, right circle, cuts it down. Malte looking in front for Crossman. Instead goes back to the line. Here's the shot deflected away by Lamb. Krupke trying to knock one away from Brown. Brown got it back, base of the right circle for Malte. Power play down to half a minute. It's down the left side for Crossman. Gives to Curry behind the net. Dan Curry, base of the right circle for Malte. Give to Bancroft, back Malte. He winds, fakes, now lets it fly, and he cranked his shot high and wide of the net. Held in by Bancroft. Wolves at least holding it in, but really haven't tested Gamble yet. Now that centering pass is knocked away, and the Aeros shoot it the length of the ice, and that'll do it for the power play.
You know, you talk about the importance of laying those sticks down in that passing lane, and that's what Lamb did right there. Intercepted the pass and dumped it all the way down the ice.
Secord the other way for Chicago. Shoots the puck into the Aero zone as the penalty is over. Teams are back at 5 aside. Here's a puck in front. The shot by LaFrance. Gamble stopped it with a left pad. And it's picked up by Carl Valamont. Scampers to center. Loop for DiPietro. Wolves go back to play it, and Goslin gives to Secord. Knocked it out at center, and now Pankowitz has a man to beat Laniel. Pankowitz shoots, missed the net, and the puck slices up over the glass and out of play. There's another timeout on the ice. 11:51 to go in the first period. It's the Aeros 2, Wolves no score. We'll be right back.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway, a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Sunday night at 9, it's open season in a concrete jungle.
This is my problem.
But this lone wolf only hunts vermin.
I'm hungry.
And he's packing lead with a nasty bite in Death Wish 3. But it turns out he's not so alone, because at 11,
Just making the world a better place.
another wolf joins the hunt. And he's got a taste for gangsters.
It's what I was meant to do.
Keeper of the City. Lone Wolf Sunday begins at 9 on UPN 20.
Welcome back to the Rosemont Horizon. Houston leads it 2-0, but the Chicago Wolves are right on their tail, taking some good shots. Looks like France takes a good hard shot, and Gamble right out at the top of his crease, making a great save. You see where he is. He's right at the top of his crease, cutting down that angle. Gamble has been playing like that for the last few weeks, and that's why he's been so successful.
Aeros win the draw. They lead it 2-0. 11:48 to play in the first. Puck shot out at center, intercepted and shot back in by the Wolves. Aeros go back, Jakes, but it was knocked away by Chicago. Here's DiPietro behind the net, trying to work it through skates. DiPietro shoveled it along the boards. It was knocked away by Dubois for the Wolves. Puck came over. LaFrance, a one-time shot, missed it. And there to play it was Jakes. He'll crank it off the boards. It's back at center ice. Chased down by Dubois. He lost the second half of the season, last third of last year, with a broken jaw he suffered in Kansas City. Andrei Nazarov got a stick up on him and cross-checked him in the face. Here's a centering pass, just missing. Breaking Greg Pankowitz. Now it's Secord in the slot. Shoots. Gamble stopped that rebound. Oh, somehow Gamble got on top of that one as well. Wow. And the puck is picked up by Houston, and Laniel will get it out at center ice. 10:58 remaining in this first period. 2-0 Houston. Jakes a pass for Maurice. His cross-ice pass tipped away by Berglund, but the Aeros get it back and dump it into the Chicago zone. Kevin McDonald had it stripped by Freer, couldn't center it. He was knocked into the boards by Dan Curry, and the Wolves will move it away. Up and out at center, Steve Bancroft. Fired it into Houston territory. Back to play it, Gord Donnelly. And Freer is waiting for it as the Aeros move it out at center ice. Chicago turned it around. Curry into Aero territory. O'Connor trying to clear. Battle for the puck. It's in skates. Fished out by Arneal. Just missing Slivchenko with the pass. Bancroft trying to go back in his own end. He was harassed by Slivchenko. McDonald got back for Chicago to tip it away, but Arneal tried to redirect one out in front. And now it's Steve Bancroft. Played part of the year with the Fort Wayne Comets and the Detroit Vipers last season. Got it out at center. Dan Curry in across the Aero blue line. Taken to the boards by Gord Donnelly. Doug Barral is there. Centered one. Knocked away. Barral again. Base of left circle. Gets it back. Top of the slot. Pozo. Wrist shot. Gamble stopped it. And he'll cover up the rebound. He'll hold on. 9:48 to go in the first period, and the Aeros lead it by a score of 2-0. And remember, Sunday, after all new episodes of Kung Fu and Renegade, Charles Bronson hits a pack of vermin in Death Wish 3. Then Louis Gossett Jr. is on the prowl for a gangster killer in Keeper of the City. Lone Wolf Sundays concludes tomorrow night on UPN 20.
A good job by Chicago. They're really starting to put the pucks on the net, and Gamble is really standing tall. And you know, sometimes the shots aren't even hard, but as long as they get through, they can cause havoc. Gamble handles them very well, drops the puck and covers them up. A lot of backdoor plays by Chicago as well. The Aeros are going to have to be a little bit careful.
Off the face-off, Aeros have it. Conroy ripped it back into the Chicago zone. Here's Kelly Hurd moving in again. Now a shot. Oh, and a save was made by Pozo, who was back. Now another shot kicked down to there by Wendell Young. So the Aeros going after the Wolves again. Jumped on by Pozo. He'll move it up and out at center. Malte trying to move it around. Kelly Hurd, he does so. Shoots, and Gamble got a toe on it. Rebound. Brown shoots. What a save by Gamble. He'll cover up, and he will hold on. So Troy Gamble standing on his aorta again here in the first period, making save after save, and he will keep it out of the twine, and it's still 2-0 Houston.
The only thing in the net on that second save was Gamble. He was right inside the net, and the puck came, and he stops it with this paddle of his stick. It goes off the blocker. Lamb in there to help out, but a good job as a shot earlier came off to Wendell Young, and he had to be sharp as well as Lamb dumps it towards the net, and Pozo, playing goalie, does a good job there making a stick save. So both goaltenders tested and both playing pretty well.
Shot again. Gamble stopped that. Krupke worked it ahead. Here come the Aeros at center. Conroy trying to loop one for Lamb. It's knocked away, and the Wolves move it up ice. Greg Walters pass tip Malte down the left side. Walters shoots. Gamble stopped that. Hurlbutt, turned it over to Brown, but he got back to take the puck away. Now it's out at center. Lamb trying to advance it. It's loose at neutral ice, and Greg Walters is there. 8:50 remaining in the first period. 2-0. The Aeros lead it. Puck down the left side. Here's Rob Brown. He centered one. Laniel read it beautifully and stopped the pass. And Conroy lets it sail to neutral ice. It's Doug Crossman for Chicago. Gets it into the Aeros zone. Knocked back for Laniel. And he will move it along, but we have a whistle that halts play. With 8:30 to go in the first period, it's the Aeros 2 and the Chicago Wolves no score, as Doug Crossman a little lame, and we'll sort out his injury when we return. Timeout on the ice. 2-0 Aeros. Back after this.
Whataburger wants to know, what's your number?
I'm a 4.
I'm a 2 guy.
Number 1, or if I was real hungry, probably the number 2.
We have 8 great Whata meals. Each one comes complete with fries and a drink.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 4.
And they're all at great low prices.
Numero 1.
Number 1.
7.
I'm a number 2.
So when it comes to good food at a great price, Whataburger's got your number.
I'm a 7. I'm a number 3.
He's a 5, and I'm a 10.
What you waiting for?
With 25% more power, 16-inch wheels, dual airbags, side impact beams, and a new, wider stance, it's one formidable 4x4. It'll take you to the top of the mountain or to the corner grocery. The new refined Sidekick Sport from Suzuki. Ask anyone who owns one.
Now through March 31st, receive up to $1,000 cash back on a new Sport through factory-to-dealer incentives.
We're going back to the 60s, fans, back to the days of Smiling Faces, Laugh-In, The Who, and Flower Children. Remember Aeros Stock 1? Well, the tie-dyes are back. We'll have 3 periods of peace, love, and music with the Orlando Solar Bears. An evening of music, prizes, and special events dedicated to the 60s will also feature your Aeros wearing tie-dyed uniforms. That's Aeros Stock 2, Saturday, March 2nd at 7 o'clock. Face-off at center ice. Doug Crossman left the ice there in between the breaks there, and I don't know, he was holding his left knee up.
Well, it looked like it actually his hip. I think he might have got a bit of a hip pointer as him and an Aero player went careening into the boards, and Crossman, the one who came up lame.
Block shot into the Chicago zone. LaFrance trying to clear it for Chicago. Couldn't, held in by DiPietro. Smoked it back behind the cage. Wendell Young came out to play it. Battling in there was Al Secord with Steve Jakes. They grind it out in the corner. DiPietro's in there as well. And the puck is picked up by Eric Dubois. Dubois will move the puck ahead. Here comes Pankowitz in across the Aero blue line. That's kicked away by Jakes. Steve Jakes knocked one out at center. It's 2-on-2 as DiPietro hits the line. Dropped it for Maurice, but it was Pankowitz that got back to play it. Greg Pankowitz in his own end. Moves it up and out at center. Pankowitz hits the arrow line, cuts in, trying to make the move, stripped away by Jakes. Nice play there. And here comes Slivchenko right side. Slivchenko makes the move, cuts in. He was wrapped up by Goslin, and no call. That's exactly like last night against Milwaukee, and he didn't get a call. So Rob Martell says play on. Gord Donnelly gives to Arneal. Centered one, Freer busting down, shoots. Wendell Young stopped it, rebound. And it's picked up by the Wolves. It is Kevin McDonald, gives to Kevin Pozo, and he'll move to center. Actually, that's Bancroft that shoots it in, not Pozo. And Gamble makes the save, and then O'Connor sends it back to Gamble. He will cover up, and he'll hold on.
You know, that's a real smart play by Miles O'Connor, but when the guys used to do that to me, boy, did it scare me to have them kind of just tap the puck back to you, because like I said, it's a smart play because there was nowhere else for Miles to go with that puck, and there was a lot of Chicago players checking in, and guys like Berglund. Of course, you watch Berglund later on in this game coming down the wing. He has a little bit of a stutter step that he uses, and I tell you what, it's really tricky. The defensemen sometimes are thrown off, and it's a really good move. He uses it every once in a while.
He's out there with Doug Baralt and Dan Curry. The Aeros shoot the puck into the Chicago zone. Bancroft went back to play it. Now it is Freer in the corner, trying to loosen it up from that wall, but Chicago takes it back, and here come the Wolves. Berglund down the right side, hammers it into the Aeros zone. Dan Curry pinned in there by Gord Donnelly. Puck is taken away by Houston's Mark Freer, and Miles O'Connor is there. O'Connor cleared it out at center. That was batted down by McDonald. And Bancroft turns it up ice. Down the left side. Here come the Wolves. Dan Curry, he can crank him, but back to tip it away was Mike Hurlbutt. Now it was centered. Back to the line. McDonald, line, shoots, Gamble, stick save, and it's cleared. Here comes Slivchenko. Lead pass, Lamb. He's in on goal. Lamb back in front, but his centering pass was taken away by Bancroft. Bancroft up ice, but late in the shift, laboring in across the line. Dropped it. Brown centered the shot. Gamble! What a save on Malte. He will hold on. 6:04 to go in the first, and a 2-0 Aero lead.
Malte had a glorious opportunity there, just got the puck a split second too late, and Gamble came across beautifully in the stack pad position. Bancroft comes over the line, just a little drop pass, and guess who? Brown feeds it to Malte, and what a save by Gamble, getting over there in time and covering it up.
I guess you could say that Steve Malte gave him a frozen Malte right in there, but Gamble was up to the task with ice water in his veins.
He certainly was, and just a play before that, a good save by Wendell Young. We're getting a lot of good goaltending right off the bat here, and a lot of it by Troy Gamble, as he's had to make a lot of good saves right off the bat here.
Aeros bringing up ice. It's Mark Lamb across, bringing Krupke right in, and he chipped one in there, and Wendell Young makes the save. We've got a penalty coming up. It's going to be a hooking minor on the Chicago Wolves, and the Aeros are going to go on their power play for the second time, as it looks like Greg Walters will go to the box.
Well, it looks like a little bit of a hooking call. A good job by Lamb to feed the puck in there, and it's Krupke, a man that you don't usually see into the offensive zone that often, but he got in there and got his stick on it. If he wouldn't have been hooked on the play, he'd have probably had a better chance to put the puck in the net, but it doesn't matter. The Aeros will find themselves on the power play with the hooking call to number 77, Greg Walters.
Face off to the left side of Wendell Young, and our next telecast on UPN 20, Saturday, March 2nd from the Summit. It's Aeros Stock 2, and it's on UPN 20 and on KPRC Radio, March 2nd, 7 o'clock, the Aeros and the mighty Orlando Solar Bears. That should be a wild hockey game. Be sure to join us right here. Off the face-off, Aeros on their second power play of the night, and Rob Brown will take it for Chicago and shoot it back into the Aeros zone. Lamb, forecheck by Berglund, got the puck ahead to Arneal. Scott Arneal in his own zone will move it up ice. Arneal feathers a pass to Lamb, and the Aeros will bust it out of their end. Mark Lamb moving it up ice with 1:39 remaining in his power play. Give it to DiPietro, spanked it into the Chicago zone. Kelly Hurd pursues, he centered one, but Wendell Young was there to take it away. Arneal left side for the Aeros. Gives it to Kelly Hurd. Back to the line. Oh, miscommunicated with Hurl, but that'll go back down into the Aeros zone. Campbell comes out, and he'll quickly turn it around for Lamb, bringing Kelly Hurd down the right side. Rip the shot in the left pad save made by Wendell Young. Malte can't clear. Here comes Mark Lamb. Tees it up, shoots, glove save by Wendell Young. So Mark Lamb with a lane on that side, but Wendell Young showing he's very deft in handling that glove, and he holds on with exactly 5 minutes remaining in the first period. Aeros lead at 2-0. They got 1:09 remaining on the power play.
The Aeros moved it around really well there and actually kept it in the zone, and Mark Lamb just takes a good slap shot, and Wendell Young saw that one all the way as he picked it out of the crowd. It was a failed clearing attempt actually, and Mark Lamb waits for an opportunity and tries to pick a spot. It actually was going, but Wendell Young said, you're not getting another one on me this period, as the Aeros lead at 2-0, and Wendell Young keeps it that way.
Off the draw, here's Laniel, danced it back to the slot, gives it to Conroy. He'll circle back toward the left point. Give it to Laniel, one-time shot, hammered wide, rebound! Wendell Young made a great save on Jakes, who was smoking down the right side, and the puck is shot down the ice. Out of the net, it's Troy Gamble. He'll flip the puck along the boards. And out Conroy. Rolled it toward his own net, and then Steve Jakes will move it up ice. Jakes charges up and out of the zone. Give it to Conroy. In across the Chicago blue line. Conroy looks for a pass. He's waiting patiently. Left point, Conroy. Waiting, gives to Laniel. Worked it back. Conroy gives to Jakes into the slot. Hammered it down. Here's Freer. Stuff shot. Stopped by Wendell Young. Rebound. Shot. Score! It was Al Conroy from Mark Freer, and they're going to wave it off. You are kidding me. In the second straight night, the Aeros are going to have a key goal taken away.
I'm not sure whether they think Young stopped that or not. I didn't see the net.
I think
bulge,
it's in the crease.
But yeah, it could be, as Freer whacks away at it, and then Freer centers it. It did go in the net as Conroy blasted. But wait. I think that Freer is saying it's in the net. The referees was right on the line there, and I think maybe they thought that Young got a glove on it. But watch it stop.
Look at the net. It's off its magnets.
The net must be off right there as the puck comes out. You'll see Conroy fired it in the net, and I don't know. I thought it was in the net, but I don't know what they're calling it. It might be the moorings of the net, or it might just be that they think Wendell Young got a glove on it.
Here's a puck taken away. Conroy couldn't find the handle. I saw the net come dislodged, but I didn't see it until the replay, though. I thought it was a good goal, and then I think after looking at that replay one more time, it just barely became dislodged, and Rob Martel was on top of it. Power play is over. Teams are at 5 aside, and the puck is shot down the ice, and this will be an icing call on the Chicago Wolves as Miles O'Connor goes back, and that'll bring a timeout on the ice. It is 2-0. The Aeros lead it back at the Rosemont Horizon right after this.
Cut! Lunch!
Mr. Quinn, any advice for hungry young actors?
You know, true greatness comes from within. I mean, you can't see it, but you can smell it and taste it. You gotta have it inside, deep down, hidden.
You're so passionate about acting.
Who's talking about acting? I'm talking about pizza.
The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut. Hidden inside 2 thin crusts is a 6-cheese blend for a huge cheese taste.
Acting's easy for me, too. Really? Well, then act like you're getting us more pizza.
The Dodge Magnum Power Surge. It's your chance to get $1,000 off any Dakota, up to $3,500 off club cabs. It's your chance to save on the truck that beats Ranger, S10, and Sonoma on resale, and a whole lot more. But to get Magnum Power and Magnum Savings, you'll have to move like, well, you know. At the Texas Truck Stop, the new Dodge.
Back to the Rosemont Horizon. Houston 2-0 as Freer jams away at it, and I believe the net becomes dislodged as Jakes goes in there. Freer will center it. The puck, well, actually, you know what? Well, it was a glove save by Wendell Young. It wasn't the net that come off. What an unbelievable glove save.
You're right. I apologize. I thought I saw the net come off, and yeah, it is.
Al Conroy was just shaking his head. What an unbelievable glove save.
Boy, he had everybody tricked. Here's a centering pass knocked away, and the Wolves have it 2-on-1. Secord charging left side, right in on goal, and a good defensive play by O'Connor. Now Pankowitz moving it along, and Donnelly was there. You talk about the valuable commodity of skating, and Miles O'Connor showed it right there with his great skating ability, coming back to make the play. Al Secord in his own zone. Worked the puck to the near side. Pankowitz moves it ahead, and here come the Wolves. Pozo, give it to Secord and across the line, but O'Connor rejects that out at center ice. Right wing boards, DiPietro gives it ahead for Slivchenko, trying to cut in on goal. Slivchenko shouldered by Pankowitz, and down he went, and he is a little shaken up. Now the puck is picked up by Kevin Pozo. In across the line is Secord. Shoots. Gamble got a blocker on it. And Krupke worked it away. Slivchenko left side. Takes a bump from Baralt. Secord turns it around. Make it Goslin left side. Shoots. Gamble got another pat on that. Troy Gamble facing 16 shots thus far, and he stopped them all at this point. Kelly Hurd right side. Dumped the puck into the Chicago zone. There's Conroy to play it in the near side. And it's back out at center. Krupke over to Hurlbut. Snapped it into the Chicago zone. Wendell Young knocked it back. Wolves trying to move it along. It's rolled to the near side. Baralt out at center, and Berglund was tripped up by Jinks. And now the Aeros jump on it. Kelly Hurd trying to move one in, but Steve Goslin takes over. Goslin for Berglund trying to move it in. It's batted into the Aeros zone. Houston will hustle back to play. It's Mike Hurlbut with 1:51 remaining in the first period. And the Aeros lead it by a score of 2-0.
You know, that play was so amazing. We're going to have to look at it again. If you're enjoying the game on UPN 20, you can see that the net is not dislodged. It is sitting there, and the reason the referee is right on that line is because he's trying to figure out whether Wendell Young's glove is in the net or not, because the puck is in Wendell Young's glove. What a great save. You see the Aeros with their arms in the air, but Gene Ubriaco and the rest of the Chicago Wolves are saying, it didn't go in the net, as Wendell Young made an unbelievable glove save to hold it to 2-0.
I just don't understand how he made a glove save. He's got the glove on the left hand, and the shot was to his right, it looked like.
He leaned back and put his arm in the air. It was really remarkable.
Yeah, it really was. That's a tough save. The only other goaltender I know that can make a save like that would be Mike Greenlay. Other than that, I don't think there are too many other goaltenders that can make that save. Here's Mark Lamb, overskates the puck. Rob Brown chipped it away. It came to the near boards. Jakes has Curry locked up along the boards in the Chicago zone. Aeros move it around. Jakes snapped one down behind the cage, too far for Lamb. Malte jumps on a loose puck but cannot clear it. Conroy gets it out in front, but it was poked away by the Wolves, and here they come, 2-on-1. Guess who? Brown and Malte. Brown centered, Bancroft. Oh, what a right pad save by Gamble. Wow, another one there, and it's in the Aeros zone. Houston got it out at center. They've got a 2-on-2. Lamb shoots, and a right pad save made by Wendell Young. But a moment ago, a terrific left pad save by Troy Gamble. He's living the life in the first. Puck is out at center. O'Connor ahead for Arneal. In on goal, shoots. Oh, blasted one right on, and Wendell Young made the save and then was knocked down on his derriere. Puck is into the Chicago end with 44 seconds to go in the first period. 2-0 Houston. Here's Freer with a quick backhander. Stopped by Young. Bayo at the rebound. And Wendell Young slammed the door again. We are seeing outstanding goaltending in this hockey game. Sit back and enjoy it. Holy smokes. Here come the Wolves. Pankowitz shoots, and Donnelly got in front of that one. Another drive, and Freer blocked it. It went to the corner, and the Aeros take it away. 15 seconds to go in the first, and a 2-0 hockey game. Here is O'Connor for Freer with 8 seconds to go. Freer moves in, waits, turns, centered. Oh, a marvelous chance for Arneal, and he just fired it wide, and that'll be the period. Oh, what a first period from Chicago. Wendell Young, Troy Gamble, both needing hair transplants from standing on their head there in that first period, but a terrific 20 minutes of action from the Rosemont Horizon. Quick look at the shots on goal in that first period, and they're brought to you by Suzuki. Ask anyone who owns one. 22 Aeros shots, 17 Chicago Wolves shots, and oh man, if I had $1 for every great save, I'd have, well, $39. All right, it's 2-0. The Aeros lead it after 20 minutes of action. We will chat with Mike Hurlbut right after this.
When you're flying the low-fare airline, you're flying with Southwest. You gotta fly out to see the honey, or maybe close a big business deal. But you don't wanna spend so much money that you can't afford your next meal. We will fly you right to your city. You'll be laughing all the way there. There'll be money left in the kitty, cause you've paid the lowest fare. We're not a low-fare airline, we're the low-fare airline. Little word, big difference. Pop-a-dop.
with 25% more power, 16-inch wheels, dual airbags, side impact beams, and a new, wider stance. It's one formidable 4x4. It'll take you to the top of the mountain or to the corner grocery. The new refined Sidekick Sport from Suzuki. Ask anyone who owns one.
Now through March 31st, receive up to $1,000 cash back on a new Sport through factory dealer incentives.
Do it! No! Do it! Never! And I will! No! Ah! No! Ah!
Drink Bud Ice. But beware the penguins.
Elizabeth Hurley is in the spotlight again.
He's up to something.
Another scandal.
Why weren't you honest with me?
Another media circus.
Oh, for God's sake!
Only this time, the two-timing lover is shot dead. So who did it?
The guy's dead bang, guilty.
One clue, hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned.
Someone is covering up.
Elizabeth Hurley and Edward Woodward, Harrison, Cry of the City.
Tuesday night at 7 on UPN 20.
Back at the Rosemont Horizon, Adam Gordon, Mike Greeley, a 2-0 hockey game. And for the life of me, if someone would have come to me and said, this is going to be a wide open affair, I thought it would have been nuts.
Well, certainly, I thought I'd been a little tighter checking, especially with the Aeros trying to keep the goals down and everything. And I tell you what, it's the most amazing goaltending I've ever seen in one period by two goaltenders in quite some time.
Well, you talk about a guy that has really come into his own. That is Mike Hurlbut, and he is standing by. Mike, what was your take on that first period? Are you surprised at how wide open it was?
Well, you know, a little bit. We wanted to come out and get a good lead and play with a lead rather than try to play catch-up. And it was pretty wide open. We gave up a few more chances than when we really like to. But both, like you said, both goalies played great, and we've got to tighten up in our own end. We think we'll be in good shape.
Mike, you have a pretty hard shot, and you find yourself on the power play quite a bit because of that. From your point of view, do you try and score on that shot?
No,
or do you just try and like get it on the net?
I'm just trying to get it on the net, and you know, I've got a reputation as an offensive defenseman, and most of it's just from shooting the puck and creating offense that way rather than leading the rush like a lot of defensemen do. But you know, I just try to hit the net every time, and hopefully the guys are there to put the rebounds in.
You fully recovered from your neck injury, and it seems a thing of the past. Do you feel you're dialed in? Do you feel you're playing your best hockey right now?
Well, I always think I can play better than I do, but you know, I'm trying to play well every night and show up to play every night and work real hard. And the neck is something that I've put behind me for the most part off the ice, and you know, on the ice especially. I've really kind of tuned out. And you know, I'm just trying to concentrate on playing. And the neck thing, you know, it's always stiff, but it's something that could be like that, you know, for quite a while. But it is behind me, and it doesn't affect my play whatsoever.
Mike, you even mentioned it yourself. You're considered somewhat of an offensive defenseman. Do you think Dave Tippett's defensive style has hurt that at all?
Oh no, I think the system that we're playing now has played into my style of game very well. It you know, allows me to stand up at the offensive blue line and keep the gap close, which allows me to pick up some loose pucks at the blue line, and again, like I said, get the shots on the net. And defensively, Gord Kruppe and I have played, I think, very well right from the start together, and we've kind of meshed together. And I've watched Gordy for about 3 or 4 years, playing against him enough when he was in Adirondack and I was in the American League. So I think we're playing pretty well together and taking care of our end first, and then hopefully the offense will come.
How about the guy you're playing in front of tonight? Troy Gamble seems to be on fire once again.
Well, you know, there's a guy that was kind of almost written out of the picture just a few weeks ago, and now all of a sudden he's got to be playing as well as any goaltender in the league, and it makes a big difference when the goalie's playing great, as Greener would know. When the goalie's playing real well, it gives everybody on the team a lot more confidence, and you know, we're building off his good play and then starting right out and carrying out offensively. We're carrying that good play right into the other team's end.
Mike, on the lighter side of things, how are you enjoying Houston in that 90-degree weather?
Well, it's pretty nice considering where I came from in Minnesota. I believe right after I was traded, it was about 60 below there, which is in December, and then you know, just a month or so ago, it was that cold again. So we're really enjoying it, and the trade was a good one for myself and my family. It gave me a chance to start over and start fresh again, and we really enjoy the organization, the coaching staff, and of course all the guys on the team. A great bunch to play with, and really looking forward to playing some real good hockey here down the last 20 games of the year and make the playoffs, and hopefully good things will happen then.
Well, Mike, not only was it a good trade for yourself, but it was a great trade for the Houston Aeros, and good job this evening, and keep it going, and good luck throughout the rest of the year.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Okay,
Mike Hurlbut joins us in the first intermission. A 2-0 hockey game from the Rosemont Horizon. We'll have more right after this.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway, a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
30 seconds and counting. The guidance system will go internal at the 17-second mark. Now 25 seconds. We have complete clearance for launch. We are go. Sequence start. Engines on. 5, 4, 3, 1. All engines running. Liftoff. We have liftoff.
Watch the finish line weeknights on UPN 20.
Cut! Lunch!
Mr. Quinn, any advice for hungry young actors?
You know, true greatness comes from within. I mean, you can't see it, but you can smell it and taste it. You gotta have it inside, deep down, hidden.
You're so passionate about acting.
Who's talking about acting? I'm talking about pizza.
The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut. Hidden inside two thin crusts is a 6-cheese blend for a huge cheese taste.
Acting's easy for me, too. Really? Well, then act like you're getting us more pizza.
Sunday night at 9, it's open season in a concrete jungle.
This is my problem.
But this lone wolf only hunts vermin.
I'm hungry.
And he's packing lead with a nasty bite in Death Wish 3. But it turns out he's not so alone, because at 11...
Just making the world a better place.
Another wolf joins the hunt. And he's got a taste for gangsters.
It's what I was meant to do.
Keeper of the city. Lone Wolf Sunday begins at 9 on UPN 20.
A very loud Rosemont Horizon, better than 11,000 here tonight. 2-0, the Aeros lead it after 20 minutes of action. And you look back at that first period, Mike Greenley, and it's amazing what the difference is between a night. It seemed like last night, the way that Milwaukee was trapping the Aeros couldn't make a pass from here to there. But tonight, the passing is crisp and the skating is terrific.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, you look at Milwaukee, they're a big team. They possess a lot of big players, and they try and slow you down. Whereas you get a team like Chicago, and they're going to use their speed. The Aeros can match that, or even better with their speed, and they're doing that tonight. A lot of good crisp passes, a lot of great plays, and therefore you have to find a lot of great goaltending. I think you have found it.
Oh, and you talk about the great goaltending. Troy Gamble, the difference for the Aeros, because even though you look at it, the Wolves didn't score. I still think Brown and Malte were a factor in that period.
Oh, they definitely were, and we haven't seen as much of the badgering of Brown as we've seen in the last couple of meetings with the Houston Aeros and the Chicago Wolves. And I think if the Aeros are going to slow this offense down a little bit, they're going to have to get on those two guys, because I tell you what, Gamble's playing great and he's hot and he's in the zone, but I tell you what, you let it happen a little too long and eventually a team like that's going to score on you.
Well, the Aeros got the only 2 goals of the first period, and it started with none other than Kelly Hurd getting his 17th of the year at .335. Mark Lamb and Al Conroy got the assist. The Aeros led it by a score of 1-0. And then right after that goal, immediately after that goal, the Wolves took a penalty. Kevin McDonald took a penalty, and on that power play at 5:28, Mike Maurice got his 10th. Just working hard for it. Mark Freer and Mark Laniel get the assist, and the Aeros lead it by a score of 2-0. So you look at the pace of that first period. If you're Dave Tippett, do you go with that, or do you go back to maybe what we saw the last couple of games against Atlanta and Milwaukee, the tight tramping?
Well, I think you got to go with what's working, and right now this seems to be working. I think you got to stick with it.
Absolutely. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What we do know that's working are our highlights. We'll have those next. 2-0 Houston. Back after this.
How can this be Car of the Year? You can't get up and walk around in a car. Cars don't have seats on rollers. or so many seats, period. Or so much space for so many things. And they certainly don't offer sliding doors on both sides. Well then, it would appear that for the first time ever, the Motor Trend Car of the Year is more than a car. It's a caravan from the new Dodge.
What are you doing for dinner tonight?
Let's go to Luther's.
If you haven't been to Luther's lately,
Let's go to Luther's.
come taste what you've been missing. Like all the tender spare ribs you can eat, just $9.99. That's right, Luther's famous ribs, complete with side orders and fixins. All you can eat, just $9.99. Every day, 4 p.m. till closing, so come on.
Let's go to Luther's. Yeah! The best restaurant in your neighborhood.
On an all-new Babylon 5.
The elite guard just opened fire on the Senate building. You're on your own.
The battle for Earth has begun.
They haven't hit us yet, but you can be sure that order will come soon.
Now, can Sheridan stop them from taking the station?
As of this moment, Babylon 5 belongs to the Night Watch.
We can't let this go on. What are you going to do?
Whatever we have to.
I wish to join.
On an all-new Babylon 5.
Wednesday night at 7 on UPN 20. Elizabeth Hurley is in the spotlight again.
He's up to something.
Another scandal.
Why weren't you honest with me?
Another media circus.
Oh, for God's sake!
Only this time, the two-timing lover is shot dead. So who did it?
The guy's dead bang, guilty.
One clue, hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned.
Someone is covering up.
Elizabeth Hurley and Edward Woodward, Harrison, Cry of the City. Tuesday night at 7 on UPN 20.
Back at the Horizon, Rosemont, Illinois. The Aeros leading the Chicago Wolves by a score of 2-0. And Greener, a lot of highlights to talk about, so go to it. Start with the Aero goals.
Well, we talked about Kelly Hurd right off the bat, and he gets a pass from Lamb and goes in all alone, puts it right up underneath the bar. I think if you take a look at this goal again, you might see that Wendell Young was a little too far back into his net. And I tell you what, that's where maybe his problem was on that goal, but a great shot by Hurd. The second goal came on a good shot by Laniel. It's on the power play, and a good job by Maurice batting the puck out of the air and chipping it into the net. The Aeros lead it 2-0.
And then the goaltenders turned on the show.
Yes, they certainly did, and they had to, as there are some great opportunities in front. You see a great save right off the bat, but then on the rebound, another great save by Wendell Young. He made a bunch of saves like that for the whole period, and especially in the last part of the period. And hey, let's not forget about the other guy at the other end. That's Troy Gamble. He also came up huge, making some great saves. This one a right pad save on Bancroft as he broke into the zone. A super save by Gamble. Both goaltenders are playing tremendous.
And I think that's going to be the story tonight. Looking at the first period stats brought to you by your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Shots on goal, 22-17. In favor of the Houston Aeros, Chicago's Wendell Young with 20 saves and 17 saves for Troy Gamble. Aeros 1 of 2 on the power play. The Chicago Wolves 0 for 1 on the power play. So the Aeros getting that one power play goal. They were 0 for 5 last night against Milwaukee. So they look like they're moving the puck pretty well there on the man advantage, and they need to keep that going.
Well, they certainly are. They're not getting forced as much as Milwaukee was forcing them last night, and so the Aeros have a little more room to move it.
And how about the save? You know, we were looking at that save by Wendell Young. How about the one on Al Conroy there? That was the one I thought that was outstanding. But there's more of those coming when we return. Shots, goals, and everything coming up after this. 2-0 Houston.
Plymouth's clever idea department has been on a roll lately. The next challenge? Come up with clever ways to save. Now get a great lease on the redesigned Plymouth Voyager. Choose your savings on Plymouth Neon, or even get this tantalizing introductory price on the all-new Plymouth Breeze. Oh, and they even named the event. Aren't they clever?
So, are you with AT&T?
No.
Oh, how's your long-distance company working out for you?
I'm not happy at all.
But what if I gave you some really good reasons to switch to AT&T?
That would be wonderful.
Well, only AT&T customers can get AT&T True Reach savings.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, spend $25 a month and you save 25% on every type of call on your AT&T phone bill.
It's easy.
It's free. You can call anyone, anywhere in the U.S. And you see your savings on your AT&T phone bill.
I don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out.
No, but you do have to be an AT&T customer. Switch now and we'll send you free AT&T long-distance certificates, good for up to 100 domestic AT&T minutes. You can use your free minutes to call, well, anybody. So, what are you going to do?
Switch to AT&T.
Good. The number's 1-800-PICK-ATT.
You didn't ask me what I was going to do.
Okay. Who's the long-distance company for you?
It's hands down AT&T.
That's your true choice, AT&T.
Back at the Rosemont Horizon, a terrific crowd on hand, but not too happy about the score after period, 2-0 in favor of Houston. The busy weeks aren't until March, and you can look at it right off the hop there. The first 2 games at home are for the Aeros against the Michigan K-Wings and the Orlando Solar Bears, and then they aren't home again until the 15th. That's a Friday night again against the Orlando Solar Bears, and you know, you look at that month of March, and a lot of them, in fact, I'm thinking right off the top of my head here, I think they're all against Eastern Conference foes, and those are big games as they try to catch Atlanta. The Aeros will bring out Mark Lamb with Al Conroy and Kelly Hurd. That was the line that scored first. In fact, it was almost the line that scored third. I thought Conroy got that one by Wendell Young, but he made a terrific glove save on it. Face off at center ice. We start things off, and the Aeros win the draw. Here's Gord Krupke right side, moves it through the neutral zone, and he sliced it into the Chicago end. Down the left side, Doug Perrault cleared it to the line. Hurlbut held it in for Houston. Blasts it down. In behind the net for Lamb. Here's Lamb, centered one. It was tipped away Bancroft. Back to the line for Krupke. Looped it behind the cage. Takes the weird hop. Came out in front. Hurd shoots. It was blocked and deflected down the ice. Rob Brown in after it, but Hurlbut scampers back to play it. Hurlbut chipped it up the boards, but Kelly Hurd is there. Kelly Hurd in behind the net. He'll move it up ice. Hurd through the neutral zone. Hurd across the line. Dumped the puck in. It went behind the Chicago cage as there was a big collision along the boards. Kelly Hurd took a sharp check along the boards. Doug Perrault turned it around, brought it in across the Aero blue line. He and O'Connor grapple, but Arneal was there to feather one to Gord Donnelly. Just about a minute gone in the second. 2-0 Houston. Here's a pass for Al Conroy moving down the right side. He was checked off the play by Eric Dubois. The Wolves are able to clear it out at center. It's shot back in by Houston, but Chicago quickly returns the favor, and it's back into the Houston zone. Here's Secord with a quick shot, but Gamble came out to cut down the angle, and the shot went wide. No icing because the shot clearly went off Al Secord and all the way back down the ice. Here come the Wolves left to right. Greg Pankowitz. He'll play the puck up ice. Give it across to Daryl LaFrance. Trying to snap the shot. Couldn't get it off. Battle for the puck. Pankowitz chipped it far side. Here is Dan Curry, but it's knocked away and it's back down the ice. No icing though.
So far, Adam, this period, the speed looks like it's retained itself from the first period, and we could see the same kind of shots on goal that we did in the first.
Puck is at center ice. It's shot into the Houston zone. Jakes hustles back to play it. Secord takes him to the wall. Here's Al Secord. Moves one in front. That was poke checked by Mark Freer and shot out at center ice. Kevin Pozo at the neutral zone. Pushed it ahead. Down the left side. Here's Jack Duffy on for maybe his second shift of the game. Mark Laniel had it tipped away by Curry. Loads the gun, rip the drive, and that thing will sail back out at center ice. 17:45 to go in the second. Houston up 2-0. Greg Walter, center one. Curry couldn't get the shot away. He had his stick lifted by Laniel. And the Aeros move it out at center. Kevin Pozo trying to work it ahead for Berglund. That's knocked away. And it's back into the Chicago zone for Kevin Pozo. Pozo fired it into Houston territory, blocked by Valamont. Pozo goes back to play. Give it to Duffy in his own zone. A pass for Walters trying to find Berglund. It sailed into the Aero zone. Gamble got there. And here's Steve Jakes. Jakes trying to work it along. It was taken away by Berglund. He centered one, but it was knocked away by DiPietro. Nice play there. and it'll go back down the ice. They will wave off the icing as the Wolves play it.
And the Wolves right now are doing a great job of forechecking, and actually they've taken most of the play to the Houston Aeros right off the bat here. I'm sure Dave Tippett wants to see his team pick it up a little bit.
Well, 3 minutes gone by in the second period. Aeros still lead 2-0, but as you say, Chicago has gotten off to a decent start here. But now the Aeros with a chance. Kelly Hurt hits the line, looks for DiPietro, knocked away. It's back out at center, but the Aeros are there. DiPietro turning at neutral ice. He'll bring it across the Chicago blue line for Maurice, trying to split the defense, but Pozo takes it away. Kevin Pozo out at center, and he fired it to Malte in across the Aero blue line. That's knocked away, but Chicago is back to play it. Steve Bancroft gives it to Eric Dubois. Here come the Wolves. Doug Barral in across the line. Barral moving down left wing, cuts in on goal center. Brown shoots, and he just missed it. He may have grazed the side of the net. Now it is Krupke. Last one up the boards, taken away by Barral. Center one, but Lamb was there, and he'll chip it out at center. 4 minutes gone in the second period. Aeros with a 2-block lead at center. It is Brown. Give it to Malte. Looking for Barral, but knocked away by Krupke. It is Al Conroy. Feathered a pass for Hurlbut. A little out of his reach, but he caught up to it, brings it across the line. And then Bancroft labels Hurlbut to the board. Puck shot out at center, too far for Brown. It'll go down the ice, and Gamble comes out to play. He'll give it up for Arneal. Here's Scott Arneal. Moves a pass out at center for Slivchenko across the line. Slivchenko trying to move in, but he is taken off the play by Goslin. Puck into Chicago territory. Secord, far corner. Gives to Dubois. And here comes Goslin. Right wing boards. Pass. Snap out at center for Secord. Across the line. Lets his shot go wide. Pankowitz in after it. Cuts in. Gamble was there, and he alertly pushed it to the corner. Mark Freer trying to get it out of the zone. It was knocked away, and Greg Pankowitz takes it over to Steve Goslin, the former Aero. Dumped it into the Houston zone. O'Connor swings it back out. We're 5 minutes into the second period. We haven't had a whistle. LaFrance at center. Hits the line. Shoots. Gamble the save, and he will hold on, and there's our whistle. And as he holds on, and we take time out. Our score, it's the Aeros 2, Chicago Wolves nothing. We'll be back after this.
1996 will be a big year for sports, which means lots of quick turns, lots of short flights, and lots of celebrating. Funny? Sounds like every year at Southwest Airlines, except that this year we turn 25.
1996 will be an election year, which means promises to lower prices, raise employment, and get this country flying high again. Funny? Sounds like every year at Southwest Airlines, except that this year we turn 25.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway, a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Tuesday night at 7, Edward Woodward returns. This time, the streetwise Inspector Harrison must help his future son-in-law solve a brutal murderer just in time for the wedding in Harrison. Cry of the City. Action begins in just a few days on UPN 20. Face off in the circle to the left side of Troy Gamble. Pankowitz against DiPietro. DiPietro wins the draw, and Laniel takes it. Laniel moves the puck ahead for Paul DiPietro, scampering through the neutral zone, pushed it into the Chicago end, but Kevin McDonald rejected it and shot it out at center. Mark Laniel back to his own blue line, forecheck by LaFrance. Aeros move it up ice. Jakes give to DiPietro, tipped it into the Chicago zone. 14.5 to go in the second period. Shots are 20-19 in favor of the Houston Aeros. And the Wolves have it at center ice. Greg Pankowitz moving down the right side. Gives to Secord, hits the line, trying to drop it for LaFrance. Here's Daryl LaFrance. We're going to get a penalty on Carl Valamont. Here's a shot, Gamble glove save, rebound in there, and they're going to call the penalty on Carl Valamont, as I believe he got the hook in there on Daryl LaFrance. They're actually going to call it interference.
Well, actually, Valamont gets in behind a Pankowitz right there and just takes his feet out as he chops away at his hips, and away go his feet, and Valamont takes the penalty away from the play. Not something you necessarily want to do right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, Carl Valamont, Dave Tippett summed it up beautifully with Carl. He says you give him just a simple role to do, whether it's play a solid defensive shift or a great left wing shift. he answers, and he doesn't do it simply. He does it outstandingly, and he has been, I think, one guy that Dave Tippett has been able to count on all season.
You know, it's funny because I talked to Valamont before the game, and he joked about not knowing which end of the bench to skate to because he doesn't know whether he's playing left wing or defense at every shift. But I tell you what, he has done a great job no matter which position he's played.
You know what? You won't mean a fighter guy that's got a great attitude about his role on a hockey team. He really doesn't know his role, and that's why he likes it, I guess. He doesn't know if he's going to be a defenseman or a left winger. Here's a puck picked up by Houston. They're trying to kill off their second penalty of the night. And here comes Conroy shorthanded, hits the line, wide, shoots, deflected away. And the Wolves turn it around. It's Steve Malte. 3-on-2 across the line looking for Curry. Malte feathered it past the drive, and it's hammered wide. That was ripped in there by Pankowitz. Now the puck in the corner. It's lobbed along the boards, batted down Conroy, but Rob Brown's got it. Right point. Sends it for Malte. Steve Malte, pass snapped down for Curry. Malte's got it back. He center one. Bancroft faked the shot. Here's Brown. Right in. Shoots. And it was blocked, I think, by Krupke. I don't think it made it to Gamble. Curry behind the net. Gives to Malte. Power play down to 1:07. Malte, top of the slot for Bancroft. Forced by Conroy. Came back. Here's Malte. Shoots. But the puck was inside of him. Couldn't get it in his wheelhouse as Brown feathered a beautiful centering pass, and the Aeros clear it down the ice.
The Aeros are doing right now a good job of taking away that lower part of the ice. That's where the Brown and Malte like to work, and they're just giving him the point shots, and it seems to be working for the Aeros. He's doing a pretty good job of killing off this penalty.
At center, Bancroft knocked off the puck. Aeros trying to bring it up short-handed. Lamb for Arneal trying to move down, but Eric Dubois is there. 34 seconds to go in the Chicago power play. Aeros take the puck away, but Freer was hooked partially by Malte. Here come the Chicago Wolves. A pass from Steve Bancroft. Lobbed out at center for Malte. Malte hits the line. Poke check, but held in Brown. Scoops it over to Dubois. Moving down the right side. Looks for the man to pass to. Dubois meandering down low. Malte looks in front. Chipped it back. Dubois. Base of the right circle. Trying to cut him. He had that knocked away, but got it back to Brown. Right point. Getting set. Gives to Malte. Through his skates. Couldn't get control of the puck. And it's the brawl along the far boards, but the power play is over. Teams at 5 aside. O'Connor chipped it away, but not out of the zone. Here's Eric Dubois. Right side is Valamont back out on the ice. Here's Malte with a shot. Snapped off skates. And I think that went right off Miles O'Connor. He'll skate that off. Back at center. Brown. Dipsy Doodle gives to Walters. Wine shoots. Gamble with the save. He'll hold on, and he will force a timeout on the ice. 12 minutes to go in the second. 2-0 Houston. We'll be right back.
Whataburger wants to know, what's your number?
I'm a 4.
I'm a 2 guy.
Number 1, or if I was real hungry, probably the number 2.
We have 8 great Whata meals. Each one comes complete with fries and a drink.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 4.
And they're all at great low prices.
Numero 1.
Number 1.
7.
I'm a number 2.
So when it comes to good food at a great price, Whataburger's got your number.
I'm a 7. I'm a number 3.
He's a 5, and I'm a 10.
What you waiting for?
Thomas Vale took a picture he wasn't supposed to take. A picture that exposed a global conspiracy.
It's the truth. That's what happened.
But what did he really see?
What the hell are they doing? My best guess is cocaine.
Prepare for the ultimate flashback.
It isn't real. It never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened.
Nowhere Man.
Monday night at 8 on UPN 20.
Calling all new recruits, the Houston Aeros want you for a group outing. Just bring a group of 20 or more friends and you'll receive a discount on tickets, a welcome at the game, merchandise discounts, and a chance to win great prizes twice a year. In our group sweepstakes, just call 627-AERO. Join the Aero Force. It's the American way. Face off to the right side of Gamble. Here's Jack Duffy left side. Wines, fakes the shot, but we've got a whistle. I think we have a penalty. It's a tripping minor.
And it's going to go, I believe, to Greg Walters as he gets his second penalty of the game, and Walters goes off for tripping. Anyone who was wondering about an update on Doug Crossman, he has gone to the hospital for an x-ray. He has a bruised ankle, and they're just going to check for any fractures. But there's the trip as it looks like Walters took down the forechecker, the forward going to the point, and by taking him down gave the forward a lot more room to shoot it. But a good job by the referee as he calls that one. And Walters will go to the box for a 2-minute minor.
Aeros on the man advantage. They're 1 of 2 on the power play tonight. This is number 3 is Lamb in his own end. Snapped it to DiPietro. Brings it across the line. Kelly Hurd moves in. Trying to feather it down for DiPietro. That's knocked away by the Wolf defense. In there, Brown. He battles with Kelly Hurd. Snap fire side. Hurlbutt pinching. And he'll give it to Arneal behind the cage. Playing peekaboo with the penalty killers. Arneal for Paul DiPietro with 1.5 minutes on the power play. It's Lamb. Oop, lost the puck, but moved it through Brown down into the corner. Arneal behind the Chicago cage, gives it over to Paul DiPietro, base of the right circle. Back to the line, Lamb getting set on the power play. Hooked it over to DiPietro left side. DiPietro to Lamb, winds, shoots, stopped in front, rebound, score! Mike Hurlbutt off a rebound. The shot never made it. The original one never made it to Wendell Young, but it was pounced on by Hurlbutt. It's a power play goal, and the Aeros are up 3-0.
So Mike Hurlbutt will get his 4th goal of the season as the puck goes into the front of the net area, and Arneal and one of the Chicago players were tied up in front. Wendell Young went down prematurely as it hit a couple ankles, and then all Hurlbutt had to do as he pinched in was dump it over the fallen Wendell Young.
You asked Mike Hurlbutt in the intermission, when you get the puck, do you just try to get it on net? Does that answer your question?
Well, the puck was just dumped on net, and that was a good play because it was Mike Hurlbutt who was right in there for the rebound, and I'm sure he'll thank that his other point man for that shot.
And we're back to action. Aeros lead it 3-0. Conroy gives to Hurd, back to Lamb, right in on goal, sent it for Hurd, but he couldn't get it on goal. Now it's Lamb again, trying to work it down, and Goslin picks it up right side, knocked away by Conroy, right in on goal, Deke shoots, stopped by Wendell Young, he will flip it to the corner. It's Kelly Hurd, looks in front, Conroy gathers it in, Conroy centered one, it hit the skates of Mark Lamb. Now it is Hurd, base of the right circle, give it to Lamb. Lamb pushed in there by Pankowitz. I'll tell you what, the Wolves are just standing around right now, and the Aeros are running circles around him on this shift. Puck is in behind the cage. They grapple for it. It is Lamb in there trying to fish it out, and finally a whistle stops play. Officially, Hurlbutt gets his 4th of the year from Mark Lamb and Scott Arneal.
So it was Lamb that shot the puck. Lamb was playing the point, and he did shoot the puck from the point, making a very good play. And the rebound eventually comes to Hurlbutt, who dumps it in the net. And I tell you what, things have changed a little bit right here as the Aeros seem to have taken over a little bit of the momentum. Wendell Young still playing a very strong game, and Martel, a referee, not really having to call a lot of penalties this game, but the ones that the Aeros have had a power play on, they've gone 2 for 3 on so far tonight, and Hurlbutt with the last one on the power play.
Here's a drive by Donnelly, slapped wide of the net, picked up by Doug Brault, but not out, held in by Arneal. Second effort popped to center ice. Rob Brown, captained by Arneal, and the puck picked up by Kevin Pozo. It's pushed ahead to the near side. Jack Duffy cleared it up and out at center. O'Connor knocked it into the Chicago zone. What a surprise, though. You look at the Chicago Wolves with the likes of Brown and Malte, and they are like next to third to last in the IHL for goals for, with the potent offense that they could have. Slivchenko, base of the right circle, knocked off by Pozo. Battle for the puck, it's frozen along the boards, and finally play is halted with 9:37 to go in the second period. And the power play goal by Mike Hurlbutt has given the Aeros a 3-0 lead.
You know, earlier on in this period, I was watching the Aeros, and they seemed to be leaving the zone a little bit early, and it caused a few problems. It made the Aeros have to make a few long passes, but boy, they've corrected that real quick, and they've really played well up till now from about the first 5 minutes on, and they're rewarded with a power play goal, doing a great job of forechecking right now, and the Chicago Wolves seem to be back on their heels a little bit.
Face off in the circle to the left side. You know, the Wolves, an interesting stat, they have been outshot by their opponents 16 straight times coming into tonight's game. That's an amazing statistic. The Aeros right now out shooting him 23-21.
One that the goalies don't want to see too often.
No. Here's a centering pass, swatted out of there by Young. Picked up by Conroy, centered. Kelly Hurd gives it to O'Connor. Winds, shoots, right pad save, kicked down of there by Wendell Young. Centered one, it was batted back, and it's out at center ice. And here comes Malte with, guess who? Rob Brown. Malte spins into the slot, gets set, gives it to Baralt, right in, but a bouncing puck, he couldn't corral it. Brown centered for Malte, it's knocked away, and the Aeros collapse on the loose puck and move it out at center. Lamb over to Conroy, moving down the right side, trying to get in on goal, but Duffy's got him locked up. Here is Baralt, lost an edge and goes sliding down to the ice. Puck is knocked free. Here is a puck chipped up by Pozo, and Rob Brown trying to clear it out of the zone. He sliced it out at center ice. Jack Duffy across the arrow line. Duffy gives Malte, couldn't pull the trigger. Malte sends for Brown, and Gamble makes the save. He will hold on. And there's a timeout on the ice. 8:42 to go in the second. Houston 3, Chicago no score. This is Saturday night on ice.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway, a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
A distress signal from space.
Small spacecraft, one life form aboard.
A dying stranger is brought on board.
Her neural patterns are fading.
And only the doctor can save her.
She'll be brain dead in a matter of minutes.
But to do it,
computer,
you'll have to perform a miracle.
What have you done to me?
What he does to her is incredible. What she does to him is impossible.
I love you.
On a brand new Star Trek Voyager.
Monday night at 7 on UPN 20.
It's 3-0 Houston from the Rosemont Horizon. A face-off in the Aeros zone to the left side of Troy Gamble. Paul DiPietro to take the face-off against Tim Berglund. And the Aeros are interested in one score, and the one that everyone is interested in the middle of the second period, Indianapolis and Atlanta. That game at the Omni tied at 1. Aeros 8 points back of the Atlanta Knights. LA and Kansas City tied at 2 also at the end of the first period. Off the face-off, Aeros have it. Krupke turns it up the right side for Mike Maurice. Maurice moves it out at center. The Aeros have a 3-on-2 if they can hustle with it. Valamont shoots the puck into the Chicago zone. Snapped down behind the cage, picked up by Greg Walters, knocked away by DiPietro. Here's Maurice, works, shoots, scores! Well, maybe the softest goal of the night for Wendell Young. He had it and they got by him, and the Aeros lead it 4-0. Maurice, his second goal of the night.
Sometimes they don't have to be very hard. They just have to be in the right spot. Mike Maurice does the old spinorama in the slot and just takes a wrist shot that finds pay dirt. It's his 11th goal of the season, and as you mentioned, it is the second goal he has scored tonight. You can see Valamont winding up behind him, but Maurice steps in front, and I think that might have been what fooled Wendell Young. He saw one guy winding up, and all of a sudden Maurice intercepts the puck and takes a shot himself, and he puts it between the legs of Wendell Young. It's a 4-0 hockey game.
11th goal of the year, second of the night, and here's another chance. Maurice in on goal looking for 3, but it's knocked away. And the Wolves shoot it out at center. Laniel back at his own line. Laniel's pass intercepted by LaFrance. Could not bring it over the line because Dan Curry was trapped in the Aeros zone. That would have been offsides. 8 minutes to go, and the Aeros now up 4-0. Clock out at center, and the Wolves go back. Well, I'll tell you what, the Chicago Wolves are just getting outplayed right now. They've had their chances. Troy Gamble's been the difference, but I think the other difference is the way Houston has just attacked the Chicago Wolves, and Chicago right now just looks limp and really listless.
Well, I said it about a couple of minutes ago, right before Maurice scored. The Chicago Wolves look like they're back on their heels. They really don't have any jump right now, and what they need is someone to spark them. But Maurice, he looks a little bad that he didn't get that third goal because he broke in almost all alone, but a good defensive play by Chicago.
DiPietro and Carl Valamont got the assist at 11:36 on Maurice's second of the night. 4-0 Houston. Wolves have the puck. They'll scamper to center. We're going to get a fight between Greg Walters and Steve Jakes. Wolves bring it down, and we finally get a whistle. And here's Walters moving in on Jakes. Jakes firing back. Walters with a right hand. Walters firing back at Jakes. And what a heavyweight bout going on now. I think Walters got 1 or 2 extras in there, but Steve Jakes fired back with some of his own. And a really good bout between Greg Walters and Steve Jakes.
Well, I don't know what precipitated that, but Walters and Jakes go at it pretty good, and no matter which way you look at it, it does get the Chicago fans going a little bit. But Steve Jakes, playing in his 300th game, 300th pro game, wants to get into a little bout to remember it by, and he does so with Walters.
Well, I have a feeling if the score remains the way it is, this thing is going to get ugly.
Well, it could get a little rougher, and as you see, both of them, no one surprised each other. I think they something might have happened earlier on in the shift that really wanted to get into it, and they did it with style and dropped it right in the right off the bat.
I don't know what's going on here, but the crowd is getting into something here. I don't know. They're showing the bout here, that punch.
Well, they keep forwarding it and reversing it. I think the video guy might be having trouble with his machine there.
Yeah. It's the button that says play. Even I know that. Which, quite frankly, the Chicago Wolves haven't come to do tonight much of. Face-off is picked up by the Wolves. Dubois snapped one down to Rob Brown. The shot is blocked, and Donnelly is there. Donnelly gets it out at center. Now Slivchenko bumped off the puck, and a hit by Kevin McDonald, who's celebrating his 30th birthday tonight. Not in very fine fashion, though, as his team's down 4-0. Here's Slivchenko, 3-on-1 on Dubois. Slivchenko in at goal, centered, but it was blocked, and the puck came out in front. I'll tell you what, Slivchenko, I think, had the trailer freer instead of Arneal on that one. And the pass was broken up by Eric Dubois nicely. Puck is centered, and the Aeros move it up ice again. Here comes Slivchenko. He'll move it 2-on-2 with Arneal. Slivchenko right side, trying to cut in. He lost an edge and knocked off, and there was Wendell Young to cover up and hold on, and then Slivchenko getting in the middle of things. And really, I think at this point in the hockey game, unless Chicago gets a couple of goals to make it interesting, I think after every whistle you're going to get a push, a shove, a joust, and all those good things that accompany that. With 7 minutes to go in the second period. Houston 4, Chicago no score.
But it was a 3-on-1 right before that. Dubois covering all three guys, are trying to get his stick down in the lane, and the puck does, I think, go off Dubois' stick and then back out into the slot, as maybe even Wendell Young got a piece of that. But either way, it was a good defensive play by Eric Dubois and also by Wendell Young, kicking that one out of there on a 3-on-1.
Let's take a look at tonight's second period save comparisons. They're brought to you by Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut delivers. Troy Gamble with 22 saves. And on the other side of the ice, Wendell Young has stopped 21 out of 25 Aeros shots. And really, outside of the fourth one that Maurice has got, I can't blame Wendell Young at all tonight. He's played well.
He's made some unbelievable saves, and his team's got to give him a little more help in front of that net.
Oh, a little more help? Here's a puck shot down. Mark Lamb, base of the right circle, moves it back. It's Laniel left side. Wine shoots. Wendell Young got a blocker on it. Picked up by Bancroft. He'll move it up the right side. Pass out at center. Pankowitz. It got through him. Kevin Cranon for his first shift of the night. It came to the corner. And there to play it is Secord. He's tapped in there by Grant. And Grant will move it ahead for Mark Lamb. Lamb left side, moves it out at center, cross ice pass, hit the skates of Kelly Hurd, went into the Chicago zone. Bancroft chasing, he's got Hurd on his case, tapped into the wall. McDonald is there, and it's out at center ice. Here comes Dan Curry down the left side, hooked off the play by Conroy. Battle along the boards, Conroy trying to knock it away. Krupke pushed it, but couldn't clear the zone. Here's a pass that's chipped away, and the Aeros trying to move it out of there. It ricocheted out in front. It's jumped on by McDonald. McDonald at the right point, looped it down, but Hurlbut was there, couldn't clear the puck. Picked up by Pankowitz, right side for LaFrance. Daryl LaFrance knocked into the boards by Hurlbut. Battle for the puck. It's fished out of skates by LaFrance. He was knocked down, and Lamb will move it to center ice. He's taken to the boards by McDonald. Tell you what, those two just cannot get along since they played 2 weeks ago. McDonald had Lamb's number. Here's Dubois in on goal. Dubois backhander, and Gamble makes the save. He will hold on with 5:38 to go in the second period, and the Aeros lead at 4-0.
Eric Dubois, who came over in the trade in the Atlanta trade, and gets in alone there and makes a good backhand shot. Gets a really good feed, and he catches this puck in full stride. That's where you want to catch it as a forward, and even a defenseman as Dubois is. And he gets in maybe a little too tight and a too tough of an angle as Gamble only butterflies and takes it in the chest and holds on.
You talk about Dubois, who came over with Corey Bolio and Doug Baralt, and you look at the exchange for Darcy Werwenka and Lee Davidson. Who do you think got the better of that deal now?
Well, I tell you what, Lee Davidson is really lighting it up this year. Of course, he has in 56 games, has 23 goals, 40 assists. So Lee Davidson doing a good job for the Atlanta Knights, and that's a team that the Aeros don't want to do well right now, as that's a team they're trying to catch.
We updated you earlier. It's still 1-1 in the second period. The Ice and the Knights Face-off, right side of Gamble. DiPietro to take the draw against Malte. DiPietro wins it, and here comes Mike Maurice with 2 goals tonight. Out at center ice, Maurice knocked it over to Hurlbut, who winds, shoots, stopped by Young. Out of the near side, it is Berglund. He was shouldered off by DiPietro, and it's shoveled back deep into Chicago territory. Eric Dubois, the pass to the left side, snapped out at center though, and Maurice was there. 5:14 to play. Here is Paul DiPietro at center ice trying to move it through the neutral zone, but it was tipped back. O'Connor spanks it ahead, and it's DiPietro trying to feather one for Valamont. That's offsides. And the face-off will come back to center ice. 5:04 to go in the second. And a 4-0 hockey game. And Paul DiPietro, who's got 1 assist tonight. And I'll tell you, it doesn't matter where you put him.
Yeah, he certainly has played well. It's funny, DiPietro, he used to be the neighbor of the coach of the Chicago Wolves, Gene Ubriaco. They used to be neighbors in Sault Ste. Marie, and he was laughing about that before the game. I wonder if he's said a few things to Gene.
Paul?
A few nice things.
Yeah, you think DiPietro, he doesn't talk much, does he? I've never met a character that talks as much as he does. He keeps everybody kind of lively off and on the ice. Puck is in the far corner. It's jumped on by Rob Brown, and it's shot out at center ice for Dan Curry. Hits the line with Baralt. Here is Brown trying to move in. Give it to Kevin Pozo, cutting in. He snapped one in front, but Arneal was there. So Malte is off this line right now. They've got Brown, who's in there with Curry and Baralt. Out at center, it is Miles O'Connor. Ripped it into the Chicago zone. Duffy went into the corner to play it, but Freer gathers it into Hashmark's right side. Freer tried to move it down. That was tipped away. And battling for it, it came out in front. Slivchenko tried to knock it through the skates of a Wolf defenseman, but it came over to the far side. Dan Curry in a battle with Gord Donnelly. It's fished out by Freer. Freer centered one. Pozo knocked it in. Here's Arneal with a quick shot. Wendell Young stopped the rebound. Tip just wide, and here's a penalty coming up to the Chicago Wolves as Slivchenko finally, who spent quite a bit of time on the ice, is going to draw a penalty. And with 4 minutes remaining, the Aeros lead it 4-0. We'll have more IHL action from the Horizon right after this.
If it seems like you're always putting money into your luxury car, you might want to take note of a recent study. Based on projected cost of ownership from maintenance to depreciation, the Lexus ES was named the best overall value in its class. So drive an ES instead of a money pit. To save money down the road, see Westside Lexus and Sterling McCall Lexus.
Elizabeth Hurley is in the spotlight again.
He's up to something.
Another scandal.
Why weren't you honest with me?
Another media circus.
Oh, for God's sake!
Only this time, the two-timing lover is shot dead. So who did it?
The guy's dead bang, guilty.
One clue: hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned.
Someone is covering up.
Elizabeth Hurley and Edward Woodward. Harrison, Cry of the City.
Tuesday night at 7 on UPN 20.
Aeros leading the Chicago Wolves with 4:02 remaining in the second period, 4-0. A reminder, Houston Aeros hockey is sponsored in part by Bud Ice. Bud Ice, proud sponsors of the IHL. Face-off in the Chicago zone to the right side of Wendell Young. Kelly Hurd, who has a goal tonight. He now has goals in 3 straight games. DiPietro lines up to take this face-off. He's out there with Arneal and Hurd. Lamb and Hurlbut as the Aeros are on the power play. 4th of the night. They're 2 of 3 on the man advantage. DiPietro left side. Move the puck back to the slot. Lamb back. DiPietro fan on a one-time shot, but moves it back. Hurd tipped it to DiPietro, getting set at a left point. Now Hurd slicing down center one. Missed both Hurlbut and Arneal. Jumped on by Berglund. Here's Berglund down the left side, trying to move in on goal. Berglund makes the move, got through DiPietro, center, knocked away.
And that was that stutter step that I talked about that Berglund does. He takes a little step, then he stops and he keeps going, and it fools a lot of players.
It fooled DiPietro big time there. And now Berglund's got another chance, short-handed. Gamble stopped it, rebound. Oh, what a marvelous defensive play by Hurlbut. And the Aeros have a 4-on-2. Arneal to Lamb, to DiPietro, centered. Arneal shoots, and it went wide of the net. Aeros had a 4-on-2 and got it to Arneal, and the shot went wide. And the Aeros go back with 1:04 remaining on the power play. It is O'Connor. He'll move it in his own zone. O'Connor takes it back behind the net. And he'll move it up ice for Laniel. Give it to Maurice. Fired it into the Chicago zone. Malte couldn't clear. O'Connor pinching down the right side. Gives it to Maurice, getting set on the power play. Back to the line. That is intercepted by Malte, trying to get through Laniel. And that almost looked like a penalty on Laniel, but they say play on. And then Malte takes a pretty good swat at Laniel. Here comes Freer across the line. Freer's pass goes to Maurice with a couple of tallies tonight. Maurice getting set, base of the right circle for Freer, hash marks right side. Mark Freer on the power play, cuts in, ripped the shot. Wendell Young stopped it, rebound. Oh, Maurice trying to feather one in there for his third, but couldn't get it. Now Laniel, pass over for O'Connor, skipped off the stick, it's out at center, and that'll do it for the power play. As jumping out on the ice is Kevin Pozo. Conroy, left side, sends one down. Here's Freer, stuff shot blocked by Young. Battle in behind the net. In there was Goslin, knocked away. Freer lost an edge. It's pushed up by Dubois. Get it to Pozo, but Maurice was there to take it away. Steers for Al Conroy. But it's jammed back into the Houston zone as the Aeros making changes on the go. 4-0, the Aeros lead it with 1:38 to go in the second period. Here is a puck picked up by the Wolves. Shot up and out. Taken back by DiPietro, trying to move in. That's pushed out at center ice. Aeros trying to move it away, but it's taken away, and it's a 3-on-1 break for Chicago. It is LaFrance, a pass left side. Pankowitz cutting in, lost the puck, and here come the Aeros. I'll tell you what, they Wolves had a great chance, 3-on-1, and that just sputtered. Now Slivchenko trying to make his move. He's tapped off by McDonald, and the puck came to the near side. Picked up again by Slivchenko. He's got DiPietro, couldn't center it to him. McDonald staying tough on Slivchenko, and here come the Chicago Wolves. Out at center ice, it's Bancroft. Gives to Secord, watched by Grant, centered. LaFrance cutting in. Here's the chance for Chicago moving in. That's knocked away. Lamb couldn't clear it. Here is a puck back to the line. McDonald getting set. His shot is blocked. And with 43 seconds, the Aeros shoot it down the ice. No icing, though, as Wendell Young will let Bancroft play it. Steve Bancroft to Kevin McDonald. Up ice, it is Malte. And across the line, that's pushed away. The Aeros clear it. Baralt is out there with Pankowitz and Malte. Puck is into the Aero zone. Hurlbut goes to play it in behind the net. Hurlbut spanks it along the boards. It came out at center, and that should just about do it for the period. 15 seconds to go. Aeros lead at 4-0. Pozo drills it back, and Jack Duffy will take over. And there's 8 seconds left in the second period. Aeros with a 4-0 lead. Puck in the Aero zone, and we've got a whistle as Pankowitz getting tied up. Offsides call coming up to the Chicago Wolves, and a face-off will come back to center ice. Saturday Night on Ice continues from the Summit March 2nd at 7 o'clock as the Aeros take on the Orlando Solar Bears. Be sure to join us for all the exciting action right here on UPN 20 and Super Talk Radio 950 KPRC.
And one of the best trainers in the league. He's been a trainer for 26 years. Jerry Mines, professional athletic trainer for 26 years. As I said, he's done the job for USC and the Houston Oilers, and now for the Houston Aeros. So here's a man who has seen a lot of action, a lot of game action.
I'll tell you who gave him terrific accolades. Last year, Kevin Dineen gave him unbelievable. You know, and Kevin's played in the NHL for many years, and he's seen a lot of the best trainers, and he said Jerry Mines is one of the best he's ever had a chance to work with. That's the horn to end 40 minutes of action. It has been all Houston. They lead it 4-0, and we'll have more from the Rosemont Horizon when we return. You are enjoying Saturday Night on Ice.
Coach, what do you think?
Son, it's not what you look like or how big you are. It's what you've got deep down inside.
You can't see it.
It's hidden. But believe me, it's there.
I made the team.
No, not a chance. I was talking about this pizza.
The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut, hidden inside two thin crusts, is a 6-cheese blend for a huge cheese taste.
You know, son, I do need another guard. Night, kid.
With 25% more power, 16-inch wheels, dual airbags, side impact beams, and a new, wider stance, it's one formidable 4x4. It'll take you to the top of the mountain or to the corner grocery. The new refined Sidekick Sport from Suzuki. Ask anyone who owns one.
Now through March 31st, receive up to $1,000 cash back on a new Sport through factory-to-dealer incentives.
Sunday night at 9, it's open season in a concrete jungle.
This is my problem.
But this lone wolf only hunts vermin.
I'm hungry.
And he's packing lead with a nasty bite in Death Wish 3. But it turns out he's not so alone, because at 11...
Just making the world a better place.
Another wolf joins the hunt. And he's got a taste for gangsters.
It's what I was meant to do.
Keeper of the city. Lone Wolf Sunday begins at 9 on UPN 20.
Thomas Vale took a picture he wasn't supposed to take. A picture that exposed a global conspiracy.
It's the truth. That's what happened.
But what did he really see?
What the hell are they doing?
My best guess is cocaine.
Prepare for the ultimate flashback.
It isn't real. It never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened.
Nowhere Man.
Monday night at 8 on UPN 20.
Back in the Rosemont Horizon, 4-0. The Houston Aeros leading the Chicago Wolves. Well, you know, it seems like every time you ask Dave Tippett about the Aeros offense, it's that night when you ask him, they explode. You know, we talked to Terry Ruskowski, if you remember, when he was coaching in Cleveland. We asked him about the offensive problems, and they won that game 7-1. So maybe the game plan is, before each game, you have to be critical of the offense.
Last time I asked him that question, they were in San Francisco, and they won that game 6-2. You know what he said to me? He came into the dressing room after the game, and he looks at me and goes, how do you like that to average 2 goals per game, Greenley? So I guess in your face, but hey, whatever it takes to spark this Houston Aeros team, I don't care.
I was going to say, if this is what it takes, I'll take it all season long to get us into the playoffs. Again, the only update we know is in the second period, Atlanta and Indianapolis are tied at 1. I'm sure at this point, the Aeros really don't care. They want to worry about the next 20 minutes, getting out of this thing with a win, and then they can worry about the Atlanta Knights after that.
Well, certainly. I mean, the Atlanta Knights are foremost in their mind when they're not playing, but right now the Chicago Wolves are still a threat. I mean, they still have a lot of offensive power, and don't let that period fool you. Troy Gamble still had to come up with a lot of amazing saves in that period to hold them to no goals, and the Aeros, of course, got a couple themselves.
The Aeros have another week off after tonight's game, and then they're back at home. They will host the Michigan K-Wings on Friday and the Orlando Solar Bears on Saturday, and those are some critical hockey games as well. Again, Eastern Conference matchups.
Well, I know you mentioned that week off. The Aeros just came off a week of rest and relaxation. I guess they did work hard in practice, of course, and then they came out not as hard against Milwaukee as they wanted to. They ended up losing in the shootout, but tonight, I tell you what, they must have been saving up all that energy for tonight, because they've really come out strong. And of course, after tonight, they have another week off. Hopefully they'll learn from last week and come out strong next weekend.
Yeah, and again, the week off is just so deadly. Now, if you're Gene Ubriaco, you've got to be concerned. You're trying to battle Milwaukee for the top spot in the Northern Division of the Eastern Conference, and really the Aeros haven't pestered Brown and Malte at all tonight. But Rob Brown, I'll tell you what, David Copperfield would have an easy time making him disappear.
Well, yeah, that's true. These guys haven't really come out the way we're used to seeing them. Of course, we mentioned Rob Brown has that 11-game point streak coming into the game, and Malte's obviously had a few good chances, but I tell you what, the story is Troy Gamble.
Yeah, and I will say this about Rob Brown and Steve Malte. You got 2 class guys in the IHL that can light it up. I still think with 20 minutes to go, they will be heard from in this hockey game. It's 4-0. The Aeros lead it after 40 minutes of action, and we'll have more from the Rosemont Horizon right after this.
Not long ago, a new breed of Ram came to Texas. With magnum power and big rig looks, Texas liked what it saw. Now we're making it our own, with a special package for Texas. You get an automatic, AM/FM stereo, and even air conditioning. A lot of truck for as little as $15,921. Or lease for just $239 a month. But the only place you can corral one of these Texas Rams is the Texas Truck Stop, your Texas Dodge dealer.
It's a big game for the Aeros. The fans are ready. The ice is ready. And they're ready to drop the puck.
Hey, Aeros fans, celebrate the hottest game in town with the coldest beer on ice.
IHL goal.
Smooth, refreshing Bud Ice. the official beer of the IHL.
On an all-new Babylon 5.
The elite guard just opened fire on the Senate building. You're on your own.
The battle for Earth has begun.
They haven't hit us yet, but you can be sure that order will come soon.
Now, can Sheridan stop them from taking the station?
As of this moment, Babylon 5 belongs to the Night Watch.
I can't let this go on.
What are you going to do?
Whatever we have to.
I wish to join.
On an all-new Babylon 5.
Wednesday night at 7 on UPN 20.
A distress signal from space.
Small spacecraft, one life form aboard.
A dying stranger is brought on board.
Her neural patterns are fading.
And only the doctor can save her.
She'll be brain dead in a matter of minutes.
But to do it,
Computer,
he'll have to perform a miracle.
What have you done to me?
What he does to her is incredible. What she does to him is impossible.
I love you.
On a brand new Star Trek Voyager.
Monday night at 7 on UPN 20.
4-0 hockey game. The Aeros leading the Chicago Wolves in the second intermission. Greener, there's 20 minutes of action remaining, and it's the Aeros' game to win. It's their game to lose. So what do they got to be wary of coming into the third period?
Well, I'll go to something that I spoke with to Mark Freer about, and he looked at me before the game and he said, Greener, tonight, discipline. Well, that's going to be first and foremost going into this third period.
All right, let's take a look at the goals from tonight's game in the scoring summary. And we'll go back to the first period. Kelly Hurd started it off at 3:35, 17th of the year from Mark Lamb and Al Conroy. Aeros had a 1-0 lead. Immediately following the goal, the Wolves took a penalty, and Mike Maurice scored on the power play. 10th of the year at 5:28. Freer and Arneal make that. Freer and Laniel getting the assist. Aeros had a 2-0 lead after a period of action. They made it 3-0 again on the power play. This time Mike Hurlbut picked up a loose puck, jammed in his 4th of the year from Mark Lamb and Scott Arneal at 8:49. And then Mike Maurice with his second goal of the night, his 11th of the year from Paul DiPietro and Carl Valamont. Springtime is approaching, and of course, as the pollen gets going, that means our allergies get going, and that is our topic tonight as we take time out for good health.
Time Out for Good Health is presented by Columbia HCA Healthcare Corporation. A new commitment in healthcare together.
I'm Dr. McAfee. I'm a dermatologist. I also practice allergy and preventive medicine here at Bel Air Hospital. Today during Time Out, we're going to speak to you about allergies. Exactly what are allergies and what is an allergy? An allergy is an offensive agent which brings about an inflammatory response in an animal or human being. What are some of the symptoms? Some of the symptoms are wheezing, coughing, congestion, sneezing, diarrhea, constipation, crampy abdominal pain. Those are only a few. No one is immune to allergies. Allergies can affect you from infancy to 90 years of age. So, if you think that you have an allergy, please consult your primary care physician or a specialist. Thank you for tuning in for Time Out for Good Health.
Time Out for Good Health was presented by Columbia HCA Healthcare Corporation. A new commitment in healthcare together.
Columbia Healthcare partners with 16 neighborhood locations in the greater Houston area. No other hospitals come close. At this point, the Chicago Wolves haven't come too close. They're trailing the Houston Aeros 4-0. We'll look at the highlights when we return. This is Saturday Night on Ice.
Plymouth's Clever Idea Department has been on a roll lately. The next challenge? Come up with clever ways to save. Now get a great lease on the redesigned Plymouth Voyager. Choose your savings on Plymouth Neon, or even get this tantalizing introductory price on the all-new Plymouth Breeze. Oh, and they even named the event. Aren't they clever?
Coach, what do you think? Son, it's not what you look like or how big you are. It's what you got deep down inside.
You can't see it.
It's hidden. But believe me, it's there.
I made the team.
No, not a chance. I was talking about this pizza.
The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut, hidden inside two thin crusts, is a 6-cheese blend for a huge cheese taste.
You know, son, I do need another guard. Night, kid.
Thomas Vale took a picture he wasn't supposed to take. A picture that exposed a global conspiracy.
It's the truth. That's what happened.
But what did he really see?
What the hell are they doing?
My best guess is cocaine.
Prepare for the ultimate flashback.
It isn't real. It never happened. Never happened. Never happened. Never happened.
Nowhere Man.
Monday night at 8 on UPN 20.
Sunday night at 9, it's open season in a concrete jungle.
This is my problem.
But this lone wolf only hunts vermin.
I'm hungry.
And he's packing lead with a nasty bite in Death Wish 3. But it turns out he's not so alone, because at 11,
Just making the world a better place.
another wolf joins the hunt. And he's got a taste for gangsters.
It's what I was meant to do.
Keeper of the city. Lone Wolf Sunday begins at 9 on UPN 20.
Houston Aeros leading the Chicago Wolves by a score of 4-0 back at the Rosemont Horizon. Adam Gordon, Mike Greenlight. You know, I'm trying to think back here in a while. This has really been the first time, especially from the offensive side of things, where the Houston Aeros have really all three lines cooking tonight.
And that's where Dave Tippett wants his team to work on the most. When you can't get something from one line, you always have the next line backing you up. And right now, like you said, the Aeros have all three lines going, and that's what they need. That's why they lead it 4-0.
Well, Greener, the Aeros had a 2-0 lead after one, and they went to work in the second, getting a couple more goals.
Well, they certainly did. Right off the bat, Lamb takes a slap shot on the power play. It goes off of Arneal, comes back out front, and that's Hurlbut dumping it into the open net. And all of a sudden, it's 3-0. The Aeros at that point 2 for 3 on the power play. And after that, wasting no time, only a few minutes later, it was Maurice getting the puck in the slot and wasting no time as he spins around and lets her fly. Takes a good shot right between the legs of Wendell Young, and all of a sudden it's 4-0. The Aeros lead it 4-0. Good defense by Chicago on Vadim Slivchenko as he comes down, tries to feed it across, and that was Eric Dubois on the 3-on-1. So the Chicago Wolves are getting some help, but they need a little bit more as the Aeros lead it 4-0.
Shots on goal 32-25 in favor of the Houston Aeros, and the Aeros 2 for 4 on the power play with a couple of minutes remaining before we start the third period. Joining me is Mike Yeo, and well, Yossi, the shoulder is slowly getting better. When do you think he'll be back?
I think definitely next week, and I'll be ready to play. Looking at tonight, I'd say it's probably around 80%. You know, situation where we have 5 days off now this week, so I think that by the time Friday comes around, I'll be 100% ready to go.
How about the team tonight? What are your thoughts on this game?
I think they're just playing great, and you know, I couldn't come up with a better effort tonight. It's such a big game for us, and I think they're really doing well.
When you sit back, I know it's been tough the last couple of weeks sitting back and watching this team, but when you see the team playing like this, it must be nice knowing you got the week off and then ready to go next week.
Well, certainly, and on the other side, it also lets me rest a little bit longer. You know, they're playing well. It's not so much of a rush for me to get back. Everybody's working hard. They're playing well. They're winning games, so it gives me a little more recovery time and takes the pressure off me, too.
All right, I can't wait to see number 8 back in the lineup. I'm sure you can't wait either. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Gill joins us here. It's 4-0 Houston. We'll have the third period right after this.
When you need an auto part, you don't need to search high and low.
I didn't want to mess up.
He wasn't real comfortable.
Had to pick up a master cylinder my dad called in.
I had it already. Some brake fluid, too.
My little guy was cool.
Wanted to make sure he wouldn't have to come back.
Dad thought the brake fluid was my idea.
He could get a master cylinder anywhere. What he needed was high-low.
I was with my daughter at the opera, and before the first aria, I realized I'd lost my keys. Happily, my Lexus dealer was able to have my spare key delivered to will call by the time the fat lady sang, if you will.
Lexus, the #1 car line in customer satisfaction, an unprecedented 5 years in a row. Westside Lexus and Sterling McCall Lexus, always a step beyond.
You're a little tired of freezer-burned sausage links? You don't get that with Jimmy Dean's Heat and Serve. It's flavor sealed, keeps the freezer burn out, and the good country flavor in. Jimmy Dean's Heat and Serve. Flavor sealed for country goodness.
The doctor saves a dying stranger, but can he save himself? I love you. On a brand new Star Trek Voyager.
Monday night at 7 on UPN 20. UPN 20, the first network for the next century.
About ready to start the third period from the Rosemont Horizon. The Houston Aeros leading by a score of 4-0. We reported that Doug Crossman has a bruised ankle and he's going to the hospital for x-rays. My question for you, Greener, I don't think it's really that big of a deal, but just out of a curiosity's sake, when you lose a guy like a Doug Crossman and you don't get him for the rest of the game, so you dress normally 18, now you're down to 17. Is it really a tough adjustment for coaches when you lose a guy? I mean, obviously you have to just suck it up and play, but does that make any major changes when you lose a guy like a Doug Crossman?
Well, certainly. It obviously depends on the player. You lose someone like Doug Crossman, who's a very good defenseman and really stands up tall back there. I mean, I guess you lose a certain part of your game, and you have to kind of compensate with other players, and that's where the depth of the team comes in.
Quickly, some scores in the IHL, and the big one in the middle of the third period. Atlanta leading Indianapolis 3-1. Other scores in the IHL: Los Angeles 3, Kansas City 2. That's at the end of 2. And Michigan, who will be in the Summit next Friday, leading Cleveland by a score of 4-1. Also, Cincinnati and Orlando tied at 1. That's in the middle of the second period. And Detroit, Fort Wayne, no score in the middle of the first period. Drop of the puck. And the Aeros have it. They'll shoot the puck into the Chicago zone. Bancroft goes back to play it. Wendell Young still in the game for the Chicago Wolves. Lead pass is out at center ice. Jumped on by Malte. Worked it through Conroy. It went into the Aeros zone, but it's gobbled up by Kelly Hurd. Tell you what, Kelly Hurd's another guy. He has just one goal, but he's done a lot tonight from the defensive side of things, and he's created some chances. He's had a wild hockey game tonight. Here's Lamb the other way. Turns, wanted to get a shot away, and then Lamb was hooked down, and we got a penalty coming up to Steve Bancroft. And the Aeros are going to start this third period on the power play as Bancroft will go off for the hook.
Well, Lamb comes over the line, and Lamb's always a dangerous player. He's trying to shake off the hook there, and he cuts back. And as he does so, he actually pulls the stick a little tighter from Bancroft, and that just sends him to the ice. And Bancroft will go off for hooking. The Aeros doing a good job. Obviously, right off the bat here, they're going to go on the power play and try and make it 5-0.
You know, the Aeros are 2 for 4 on the power play tonight, Greener. They came into tonight's game on the road 21.3% on the power play, but you look at last night, they go 0 for 5 at home, 11.2%. It's just amazing how the power play is so volatile on the road this year, but just can't really buy one at home. On the man advantage, 5th power play of the night for Houston, and across the line, Maurice looking for his 3rd goal of the night. Down the right side, tipped away by Berglund, picked up by Mark Freer, scooped it back from Maurice, and behind the net, shoveled it over to Al Conroy. Gives to Maurice, base to the left circle, but his pass missing everybody. It'll go all the way back down into the Houston Aeros zone.
We've seen that happen 2 or 3 times tonight, where that winger will try and toss it back to the defenseman, but he won't look. I guess he'll assume where that defenseman's moving, and he'll throw it right by him all the way down the ice.
Pass is picked up by Maurice, gets it into the zone, but that's knocked away by Eric Dubois, shoveled right back down the ice. 1:14 remaining in the penalty to Steve Bancroft. And speaking of Steves, here is Steve Jakes for the Houston Aeros with 1:07 remaining on the man advantage. Jakes a pass to DiPietro, moves it through the neutral zone, hits the Chicago blue line, dropped it left side Lamb, and his pass intercepted by Malte. And here's a penalty coming up to Steve Jakes. Malte on the delayed penalty, moves it down left side. It's sent over to Jack Duffy, trying to cut one in. Aeros need to touch the puck, and Jakes and Lamb go after it. Lamb gets there, and there is the whistle, and that will do it for the Aero power plays. Jakes will go off for interference. Now Jack Duffy getting into it with one of the Aeros. Arneal is in the middle of things as they talk a little bit, and the linesmen get in there to separate.
Jack Duffy ran Jakes into the boards after the whistle, or right at the whistle, and I think that's what the pushing and shoving was about. I don't think there'll be any even up calls, but I know that the Aeros are arguing it right now. Jakes is saying, hey, first of all, we thought we touched the puck earlier, and then when we get down to the zone, someone runs me from behind, but Jakes is going to be the only one that goes off, and it'll be for tripping.
The Aeros on top by a score of 4-0. There's 45 seconds left at Bancroft, and then the Wolves will get 1:15 of a power play. The faceoff will remain in the Houston Aeros zone, as Troy Gamble now coming over to talk with referee Rob Bartel. I don't know what he was discussing, but Rob Bartel says, get back in there, we're ready to go. Good look at Dan Curry. I'll tell you what, that guy can rifle the puck.
He certainly can, and he really does a lot of it at home. He has 17 goals, 31 points at home versus his 6 goals and 13 points on the road. So he really likes this building for some reason.
He's the true definition of a homer. Here is the puck controlled by O'Connor, and behind his net in half a minute. Chicago will be on the power play, but right now we're 4-on-4. Scott Arniel center ice with Mark Freer. Gives the puck to Freer across the Chicago blue line. Right back to Arniel, but he couldn't get this shot away. And it's taken away by Pankowitz and shot out at center. O'Connor wings one over to the right side for Freer. Mark Freer turns back to his own blue line, and the Aeros move it up ice. Hurlbutt, who has a goal in this hockey game, moves it up ice. Now Freer moving down right side, pulls a pass over to Arniel. That's intercepted Pankowitz. Arniel gathers it in. Lobbed it back near side. Freer steers it into his own zone, but Chicago is going to make a line change, and they're on the power play, so Laniel will just wait. He is in no hurry because he's just trying to kill off this power play. Laniel ripped it into the Chicago zone, and Wendell Young will go back to play it. Under a minute remaining in the Jenks penalty. Rob Brown fires a pass. Malte stripped away by DiPietro, and here he comes short-handed. Maurice going in for the hat trick. Shoots, scores! Hat trick for Mike Maurice. And I'll tell you what, a lot of credit should go to Paul DiPietro. Knew that Maurice was coming in. Knew that Maurice had 2 goals. He says, baby, this one is yours.
And Mike Maurice gets his first hat trick of the season, and in fine fashion, stripping the puck from Maltese as DiPietro, and he just gives it to Maurice and says, hey, I'll take a point. It can be an assist, as he gives Maurice the puck, and Maurice makes no doubt about it, blasting it by Wendell Young, and a great job. A no-look pass by Brown, and Malte can't control it, neither can Bancroft, and DiPietro says, I'm going to take it and give it to my buddy Maurice so he can get the hat trick as he puts it right up inside the post. Mike Maurice's 12th goal of the season.
And here come the Wolves again. They're still on the power play. Puck is Rob Brown, base of the right circle, shoots, blocked, came to the near side. Baralt chased it down to the line. Goslin over to Bancroft, worked it for Malte. Steve Malte for Rob Brown. Here's Malte at the hash marks right side, cuts it down for Brown. Center one, it ricocheted. Oh, and there was Baralt on the doorstep, and had a wide open net, but he fanned on it. Goslin for Baralt. It's 5-0 Houston. Puck sent back. Bancroft shoots. Gamble stopped it, and it's shot down the ice. Power play is over. Jakes is back on the ice, and the Aeros are at 5 aside. And speaking of 5s, they're up 5-0. Here comes Bancroft. Hits the line. Moving down the left side. Brown centered one. Pankowitz shoots. Gamble with a scrambled save, but he got a piece of it. Pankowitz fired at far corner, but there was Mike Hurlbutt. He'll move to center ice. Give it to Gord Krupke. Right wing boards. Dump the puck into the Chicago zone. And back to play it is Steve Bancroft. Secord to Pankowitz. Knocked out at center. Kelly Hurt jammed it into the Chicago zone. And Eric Dubois goes back. Dubois, the pass out at center, and Miles O'Connor is there, and it'll go into the Chicago zone. 4.5 gone, third period, a 5-0 Aero lead. Wolves shoot the puck the length of the ice. This is going to be an icing call as Kevin Grant goes back, and he will touch up, and that will bring a timeout. The Aeros with Mo going tonight. 5-0 Aeros back after this.
Circuit breakers, check. Window heat, on. Take off warning horn, check. Parking brake, set. Radio's radar and transponder, set and standing by. Sunscreen, SPF 15, that's a check.
Southwest Airlines is going to Florida with low fares on every seat, every flight, every day. Florida has never been closer.
Cool shades. On.
True, 16-inch aluminum wheels, specially designed tires, and a precision-tuned suspension might seem a bit sporty for a caravan. But when you think about it, it makes sense. Considering all the racing around you do. The new Dodge Caravan Sport. Just as original as the original.
Welcome back to the Rosemont Horizon. Houston Aeros lead it 5-0, and they also boast one of the best equipment managers in the league, Steve Sumner, 7-year veteran. Done some work for the Adirondack Red Wings of the American Hockey League, done some Central League work, and last year was actually with the St. Louis Blues in the NHL, and now he's happy to be in Houston. The Aeros are happy to have him. He's a good, hard-working equipment manager, one of the best in the league.
I'm sure his wife, April, is enjoying this game. We'd like to say hello to her. Puck is controlled by Kevin Grant. Here come the Aeros out at center. It is Mark Freer. Dumped the puck into the Chicago zone. Slivchenko trying to move it in. Knocked away, and then Arniel goes firing in after one of the Wolves. He knocks Secourt down. Here is Freer. Tell you what, watching Arniel running into Al Secourt brings back memories. I'm sure those two have grappled a time or two in the NHL. 11-year NHL veteran Scott Arniel and Al Secourt, I think, about 13 years in the NHL, mostly with the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's a puck ripped along by O'Connor, kicked away though. The Wolves look in front, center, and one of the Wolves was just punished. It was Pankowitz that was just drilled from behind by Kevin Grant. Puck is fished out of skates by Freer, and the Aeros move it up ice. It's 3-on-2. Freer with Slivchenko. Now it's a 2-on-2 as Arniel comes to the bench. Now Slivchenko. Hey, he spent some time on the ice tonight. He made a move and he was knocked off the puck.
Spent some time in the air on that one.
Oh, we featured Air Jordan at the top of the telecast, and now we can feature Air Slivchenko. There's going to be a new tennis shoe. More action for the Houston Aeros coming up in the month of March at home. The Michigan K-Wings on Friday the 1st. The Orlando Solar Bears also not only on the 2nd, as we talked about, but on the 15th. And that'll be it for home at the Summit for March, for the first half of March.
And those are two of the tougher teams the Aeros will have to face going down the stretch here.
And Michigan, don't ever sell them short.
No, never.
They don't have Ken Hitchcock. He's with the Dallas Stars, but they do a terrific job. Regardless, they got a very talented hockey team. I think they've underachieved a little bit. Here is Paul DiPietro. He's trying to move it through Bancroft. It's picked up by Chicago. And here come the Wolves. Walters snapped it into the Aero zone. Krupke chased back into his own end, taken hard to the board by Berglund. And Valamont gathers it in, trying to move it up, but he's drilled by Walters again. And here come the Houston Aeros. It's 2-on-1. Here's DiPietro. Maurice shoots, and it's blocked by Wendell Young. The Houston Aeros, to my quick memory, which is about as sharp as the edge of town, but to my quick memory, I don't think they've ever had anyone get 4 goals in a game.
Well, Mo was going for foe as he took a good one-time shot up on the high side of the shoulder pad of Wendell Young. A good pass again by, I think it was DiPietro, and a concerned Gene Ubiaco looking on as his team trails 5-0. That's a bit of a deficit that would be a miracle to overcome, maybe. They would really have to turn something on with 13:41 remaining in the third period, and it doesn't look like they are going to get that spark necessarily. They've had some great saves, some big hits. Duffy right there has had a couple big ones, and the Chicago Wolves still looking for a spark to get them going. It's getting kind of late.
Puck is controlled by the Wolves and shot out at center ice, and the Aeros trying to turn it around. Here's the puck shot ahead. It is Al Conroy. Gives it to Lamb. Lamb trying to move it down. Here is Kelly Hurd along the left side. Give it to Conroy. He'll let the shot go. It is blocked by Wendell Young. He will hold on with 13:18 to go in this third period. 5-0 in favor of the Houston Aeros. And a lot of great Aeros merchandise selling again this year. And if you're interested in it, you can visit the Aerodrome Pro Shops in Sugar Land and in Willowbrook. They're currently conducting a sale of volcanic savings on all licensed merchandise. Sale includes t-shirts, sweatshirts, golf shirts, hats, and much more. Save up to 50% on all Aeros merchandise. Hurry before the sale erupts March 10th. Off the face-off, here is the puck controlled by Chicago. It's shot to the line, not out. Jakes held it in. He was worked on by Malte, and the puck came out at center, and Kelly Hurd wings it into the Chicago zone, and we've got a whistle, and the puck will come back out at center ice with 13:04 to go in the third period, and the Aeros firmly on top, 5-0.
And if the score remains the way it is, that man right there will have the game-winning goal. You know, he's had 4 of the game-winning, or so I should say game-deciding goals. That's 1 game-winning goal and 3 game-tying goals. This would give him another game-winning goal, and he's got all 4 of those in his last 11 games, playing really strong for the Houston Aeros.
Puck is picked up by the Chicago Wolves. Rob Brown moving down the left side, gives to Malte. Shot stopped by Gamble, and the puck is controlled by the Houston Aeros. Shoot the puck into the Chicago zone, and a whistle stops play, and there's a timeout on the ice. We'll do the same. 5-0 Houston. Back at the Horizon after this.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway.
a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
He was the first pilot to die while chasing a UFO. Now the air traffic controller who heard it all speaks out after 50 years.
I'm gonna close in for a better look. And that's the last thing you ever said.
Breaking the code of silence. Then
there was a white mass.
Footsteps, flames, and spirits haunt a little girl.
He may not want her to leave his house.
Trapped by ghosts on the next Sightings.
Tonight at midnight on UPN 20.
Well, if you're wagering on the Aeros, here's a tip for you. Houston 5, Chicago nothing. Aeros looking to get back on the winning ways. And you think Dave Tippett is smiling inside right now?
He is, but he's still a serious competitor and not going to give up 1 inch until this game's over.
Here's a puck that's jammed ahead. It's shot back to the line. O'Connor, well, couldn't hold it in. Freer played it. That is offsides. They'll bring the face-off to center ice. Mark Freer had 3 goals last year, but nobody was able to score 4, so Mike Maurice nearly had a chance, and if he can get one here, he will try to become get the Aero record for most goals in a game 4.
That would be a great feat. I told you earlier in the break that Mark Freer said that discipline's going to be a big factor, and of course right now the Aeros playing very disciplined hockey.
Mark Freer's 2 hat tricks last year came against Las Vegas, and guess who the other team was? Yep, I knew you guys knew it. The Chicago Wolves. I'm telling you, we've got the best listeners and viewers in Houston. They know everything. They were sitting there going, it must be Chicago. Here's Gord Donnelly, right side. Shot is kicked away. Now Slivchenko worked it ahead. Arneal back to the line. Donnelly lets the shot go. Wendell Young got a glove on it. Slivchenko moving base of the right circle, trying to move the puck along the boards. He had that tapped away, but he continues a battle for it with Darryl LaFrance. And here come the Chicago Wolves to center. At the neutral zone C-court, lobbed one ahead, it hit Donnelly. It's a delayed offsides, and O'Connor goes back. 11:42 to go in the 3rd period. Slivchenko kicked it into the Chicago zone. Wolves trying to turn it around. It's moved through Freer by Kevin Pozo across the Aero blue line. Pozo with a shot that is up over the glass and out of play. 11:28 to go in the 3rd. 5-0 Houston. You know, we touched upon the fact as we look at the Aeros out shooting Chicago 37-27. If this remains the same, it'll be the 17th straight time that Chicago has been outshot.
And Al Conroy on the bench toweling off there. He has an assist tonight. That gives him 7-game point scoring streak as he comes into this game playing really well and leading his team. He's the team captain. 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points in his last 6 games. Make that 2 goals, 7 assists, including tonight.
Face-off is controlled by Houston. Maurice jumps to center. He's got 3 tonight. Maurice trying to make his move. Can't get around McDonald. It went to the corner, and then Maurice goes sliding into the boards. Now the puck is picked up by the Wolves. Bancroft rolled it into Aero territory. Valamont is there. Valamont gives to Kevin Grant. And it's pushed up and out. No, held in by, well, no, it was not held in by Bancroft. It goes back into the Chicago zone. McDonald goes back to play in behind his net. Slides it near side Bancroft as he's pursued by Maurice. Fired up from Malte, and the Aeros trying to hold it in. They do. DiPietro left side gives to Valamont between the circles. Lets the shot go. That's blocked. DiPietro centered one. Couldn't feather one to Mike Maurice. And the Wolves jam it away. Dan Curry at center. That's blocked by Valamont. If the Aeros hold on here, which they should, with 10.5 to go, they will win the season series 3-0. Kevin Grant in behind his net. He'll hoist the puck out at center. Bancroft waiting for it. It was knocked away. And the Aeros trying to move it ahead, but that's tapped away. And here comes Steve Malte down the left side. Ripped the shot. Got blocker save made by Gamble. A bounding puck that he had to kind of corral. That had a little synergy in it. Now Malte getting into it with one of the Aeros. That might have been Kevin Grant. And the linesman again in there to play peacemakers. But the Yalta Conference continues behind the net of Troy Gamble. Well, we talked about the Aeros who could make it 17 straight on the Chicago Wolves, out shooting the Chicago Wolves. And let's take a look at tonight's shots on goal. They are sponsored by High-Low Auto Parts. You can get an auto part anywhere, but what you need is High-Low. 38 Aeros shots, 27 Chicago Wolves shots. You know, I'm just thinking of that stat. It would be 17 straight games that the Wolves have been outshot by an opponent tonight.
That's a lot of games where you've been outshot, and I'm sure that you look at the team of the Chicago Wolves, and with their offensive power, you think that they would get some more opportunities, but obviously teams outdueling them in that department.
Puck is in the Houston zone. Fired out at center ice. Steve Goslin goes back, wings it out at neutral ice. Doug Peralt worked it ahead for Tim Berglund, moving down the left side, trying to get around Krupke. Berglund dropped it. It came back. Berglund in front. It was knocked away by Mark Lamb, and the Aeros will shoot it out at center ice. 9:50 to go. 5-0 Houston. Puck is shot back into the Aero zone. Krupke is there, rides it along the boards, cleared to the line, out at center ice. Goslin in a battle with Al Conroy. They grapple some more. Goslin and Conroy continue to go at it a little bit, but linesmen get in there, separate it. The Aeros will keep play moving. Here's Al Conroy turning at center ice. Conroy hits the line. Conroy moving right side, lets a shot go, and Wendell Young may have gotten a piece of it. And then Goslin drilling Conroy. Well, keep an eye on Conroy. I'm sure he's going to keep that number in the back of his mind. Puck is brought in. Goslin cutting in center one, but he missed the pass to Berglund. We've got a penalty coming up, and it is on the Houston Aeros. And then Conroy comes back looking for Steve Goslin.
Well, Goslin got a heck of a chop on the arms by Donnelly. Donnelly will be lucky to get out of this one with just a minor. He might even get a double minor, but he's going to get the slash as he chops Goslin, who makes it around the outside. You see Donnelly turning the other way, trying to cut off some ground, and whack right off. Well, actually, I don't know if it hit him in the arm, but it sure got him right across the shin pad, or sorry, the thigh guard. And that was a heck of a lumber chop right there.
You talk about chops. We saw one last night. Gord Krupke has gotten into the tree planting business.
Yeah, he put a tree in his backyard, and then he tried to put another piece of lumber into Couturier's foot last night. And Couturier had to be helped off the ice. You know, and I talked to Krupke, and we both agreed that it came from something earlier on in the game. And so I guess paybacks are tough sometimes, but Krupke, well, we've heard it was a bruised ankle, and so it wasn't hopefully too serious.
Puck is controlled by Chicago. Here's Bancroft at a right point. Lobbed it down. Rob Brown gives to Malte. Power play on for the Wolves. Brown shoots, scores! So the drama is over as far as the shootout is concerned. It's a power play goal for Brown, and the Wolves on the board. It's 5-1 Houston.
So Brown with that goal, I don't know if really helps his team get back into this game. It's a 5-1, but he helps his own stats as he extends his point scoring streak. It's from a pretty sharp angle, and I think maybe Gamble might have thought there was something coming from another way, but it's a screen shot, and I don't know if that beat him 5-hole or not. It was a heck of a good slap shot, though, as it really blew by Gamble, and that's a really sharp angle. I think it might have beat him 5-hole. And what a shot by Brown as he goes and makes it 12 games, 12-game point scoring streak. And Rob Brown and Malte connecting on that one.
And as mentioned, now has a 12-game point scoring streak. And that's pretty handy. Speaking of handy, that's the hand of Steve Goslin. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. It might get slashed in this game. Puck is picked up by the Aeros. And back to play it is Kevin Grant. Slides it out at center ice, and the Wolves go back to play it. Kevin McDonald, forecheck by Slivchenko. Give it to Bancroft. Moves it out at center for Dan Curry, and now it is Brown. Brown trying to move it ahead. Brown, center ice, pass, picked up by Curry. Lets a shot go. That hammered wide of the net. Arneal feathered one out at center for Mark Freer, and he's belted by Bancroft. Here's Jakes trying to feather one for Slivchenko, but Wendell Young comes out to play it away. Wolves turn it up and out at center. Bancroft had that poke check by DiPietro. Here's Krupke, who lost the puck. He had it taken away by Malte. Sliding in, Malte, stuff shot. Gamble got over and made the save. Nice play there by Troy Gamble. Here's the puck far side. Dan Curry gives to Malte, shoots, blocked, loose puck. Malte on the boards, lost it. It came out at center ice. 7:50 to go in this one. 5-1 Houston.
At this point in the game, the Aeros just want to keep with their quick shifts and just keep rotating it through and run this game down.
Secord gives the puck Bancroft. Shot deflected. It's up over the glass, and it's out of play. Timeout on the ice. 7.5 to go in this one. Houston 5, Chicago 1, and we'll be back with more after this.
Whataburger wants to know, what's your number?
I'm a 4.
I'm a 2 guy.
Number 1, or if I was real hungry, probably the number 2.
We have 8 great Whata meals. Each one comes complete with fries and a drink.
I'm a 3.
I'm a 4.
And they're all at great low prices.
Numero 1.
Number 1.
7.
I'm a number 2.
So when it comes to good food at a great price, Whataburger's got your number.
I'm a 7. I'm a number 3.
He's a 5, and I'm a 10.
What you waiting for?
2/3 of all LS400 owners purchase another Lexus, making the LS400 #1 in its class in customer loyalty. European luxury cars? They're not even in the hunt. Lexus, also the #1 car line in customer satisfaction, an unprecedented 5 years in a row. See Westside Lexus and Sterling McCall Lexus. The hunt is over.
Sunday, after all new episodes of Kung Fu and Renegade, Charles Bronson hunts a pack of vermin in Death Wish 3. Then Louis Gossett Jr. is on the prowl for a gangster killer in The Keeper of the City. Lone Wolf Sundays concludes tomorrow night on UPN 20. Face-off is in the Aeros zone. It is worked by Houston into the Chicago end, and Jack Duffy goes back to play it. Duffy forecheck by Maurice. It's picked up by DiPietro. Rips the shot. Wendell Young stopped it, and it's jumped on by Duffy. Duffy moving it up ice. He's attacked by DiPietro, who takes the puck away. He'll bring it 2-on-1 with Maurice. Here's the chance now. Puck comes down. The shot. Glove save made by Wendell Young. And he will hold on. Folks, are you ready for this one? Atlanta had a 3-1 lead in the third period, and they lose in a shootout 4-3.
That's what happened to them last night against Cincinnati. The Aeros lost against Cincinnati in a shootout in the same manner, as Valamont takes a good hard shot and Wendell Young makes a great glove save. Hey, that's Valamont's circle. I can't believe he didn't score from there.
Well, Wendell Young's not $1 million goaltender in the NHL, though. That's the only difference. He needed a guy like, Curtis Joseph, yeah. John Casey.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Valamont has 3 goals this year, all from that face-off circle, and all on $1 million goaltenders.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, how will they know?
Yeah. Here's Mark Lamb, base of the left circle. Oh, brother, help me. Here is Al Conroy left side. Conroy fished one for Kelly Hurd. Trying to get it through Kevin Pozo. Greg Walters is there. Got it for Baralt. Aeros trying to hold it in. Conroy lets it slide down for Lamb. He's pinned along the boards by guess who? Well, no, it's actually Eric Dubois. I thought it was McDonald. McDonald and Lamb. That's been the battle these last 2 meetings between the 2 clubs.
The one battle we haven't seen tonight is Brown and O'Connor. That's usually a given.
They haven't had to. Lamb, right side, shoots the puck into the Chicago zone. It's funny when you watch Kevin McDonald all over Mark Lamb. I guess you could call it 2 all Lamb patties. They go after it pretty darn good. I love watching the little battles. That's what makes hockey interesting, when you watch little one-on-one matchups away from the puck.
And it's a team that wins those little battles that usually wins the war.
Yeah. Puck is in the Chicago zone. Arneal pushed to the corner. Slivchenko jammed one behind the cage. Freer, he's tapped by McDonald. Shook off the check, though. Freer centered one, but Arneal was dumped, and then who took a little swipe at Kevin Pozo? The puck is picked up by Houston. Here's Freer across the line with Arneal. Arneal trying to move in. McDonald knocked it away, and Rob Brown moves it up ice for Malte, but can't find the handle, and Steve Jake steers it ahead. Scott Arneal banks one ahead. Slivchenko, that was knocked away by Steve Bancroft. 5-1 Houston, 5.5 remaining. Chicago with the puck down the left side. Dan Curry hoists one to the far side. Here's Duffy wide, shoots, glove save made by Gamble. He'll hold on. With 5:25 to go in the third in a 5-1 hockey game. And tell you, we're going to have to pick a Texaco star of the game, and it's going to be tough. You got Maurice with 3 goals. Troy Gamble standing on his lips tonight.
And there have been some other guys that haven't necessarily been in the point department, but I tell you what, have played very strong games. And hey, you know what? I'd rather have that tough decision that way than the tough decision the other way. I tell you that. And just like coach with a couple strong goalies right now, Dave Tippett has a real strong one in Troy Gamble.
A shot right on, and Gamble makes the save. Aeros with 41 shots on goal. Puck is out at center ice. Kevin Grant turns it around. Grant leading the rush right side. Centered one, tipped away by Dan Curry. And here comes Steve Malte romping to center, harassed by Maurice. And across the line, he had it taken away. DiPietro moving right side. Tell you what, DiPietro reminds me of Gary Payton tonight of the Seattle Supersonics. I mean, with all the steals he's had, he's picked so many pockets tonight.
He should have a mask on and a gun.
Doesn't need it. He just pickpockets tonight. Reminds me of, I guess if we keep it in Houston, Sam Cassell. But he is, he's definitely done the job as far as steals tonight. He's created some chances. Here's a puck down for Malte. Wrap around, blocked as Kevin Grant. Labeled Malte right down to the ice. Here's a drive by Pozo, blocked, and the Aeros Lamb cleared it. He didn't see Kelly Hurd behind him. He could have sprinted Hurd all alone, but Dan Curry goes back. At this point, Aeros not really looking for offense anyway. They're up 5-1. Brown scampering through the neutral zone, hits the line, moving in. LaFrance centered one. Brown hooked down by Kelly Hurd. I don't know how that can't be a penalty. And Rob Brown agrees. At this point, I think Rob Martel just wants to get the game over with. Puck is into the Aero zone, knocked down by Gamble. Rob Brown came sliding in to try and knock the puck away. Brown's still kind of yapping with Martel a little bit. Puck is shot out at center ice for Freer. He takes a bump from Dubois, and Dubois shoots it into his own end, and the Wolves regroup. Kevin Pozo passed too far for Pankowitz, and their Aeros are there. Hurlbut couldn't clear it. Secord gets it back wide, shoots, deflected by Hurlbut. Puck goes up over the glass and out of play. Timeout on the ice. 3:34 to go. It's 5-1 Houston. We'll bring you the final 3.5 when we return. You are enjoying Saturday Night on Ice.
Here in Texas, we got a 938-mile driveway, a few pump jacks, and a couple of head of cattle. Yep, you might consider Texas a 267,000 square mile ranch. And along those lines, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, voted best full-size sport utility by the Texas Auto Writers Association, and available at a great rate of just $327 a month, would definitely have to be considered ranch dressing. Get the best full-size sport utility in Texas at your Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer.
It's almost 4.
We'll make it.
At Glidden, we know how hard it can be to find time to paint. That's why Spread Satin is formulated to cover the first time, so you can finish in less time. Glidden, a better way to paint.
5-1 Houston, 3.5 to go, and it's time for our co-Texaco star of the game, Mike Maurice, with 3 goals tonight, trying to find 4. And also tonight, Troy Gamble is your other Texaco star of the game. He has faced 31 shots and has stopped 30 of them. So congratulations to Mike Maurice and Troy Gamble. Puck is in the Aero zone. Here's Al Secord, center one, kick wide of the net. LaFrance had a chance, but he can't dance, and it's back out at center ice. It's into the Chicago zone, picked up by Slivchenko, wheeling left side into the slot, hooked a shot wide of the net. Slivchenko trying to move it behind the cage. He's got Secord on him, and then McDonald came firing in to rip a check on him. Freer behind the net, checked hard by McDonald. They grapple some more behind the cage. I'll tell you, Kevin McDonald's going pretty hard out there. It's like a 3-2 game for him right now. And I guess if you're a coach, you like to see that. Here is Pankowitz, give it to LaFrance, shot wide. It's Al Secord behind the net. It's LaFrance waiting, trying to move it out in front. He's tapped by Slivchenko, and the Aeros in their own end. It is Donnelly. Moves it up and out at center for Freer, and back into Chicago territory with 2.5 to go in this one. 5-1 Houston. Maurice at center ice, moves it right side and across the line, trying to get by the checkup. Bancroft cutting in. Here's Maurice, centered one, but it just got behind Carl Valamont. Here's another centering pass, and Bancroft is there. Bancroft right side, swings out at center ice, moving it through the neutral zone. Maurice came back to take it away. What a game Mike Maurice is having tonight. Puck is Controlled by Houston. Jakes to DiPietro. Center ice. DiPietro moves it up for Kevin Grant. 5-1. And now here's a break for Walters. He got behind the defense, ripped his shot, and Gamble makes the save, and he will hold on with 1:52 to go in this one. Updating you in the IHL, we've already told you about Indianapolis and Atlanta. 4-3, the Indianapolis Ice win it in a shootout. A breakdown by the Aeros a little bit here, and Greg Walters with a marvelous chance.
And you can always tell a goaltender that's really on his game. He just stands there and says, hey, you put it by me. And I tell you what, Troy Gamble stood his ground there and cut down the angle, and he knew he would take a heck of a shot to beat him. It was a good hard shot, but Gamble stands his ground and covers that one up as he's done all night. Great job.
Face off, won by Chicago. Baralt pushed it back to the line. Shot is blocked. Laniel scooped it up and out at center. And here comes Kelly Hurd. Hurd across the line, lets a shot go, hoisted it wide of the net. And here is Tim Berglund. Pass shot out at center ice, ripped back in by Kevin Grant. Kevin Pozo goes back. So Houston's going to get their 23rd win. They will gain ground on Atlanta, but only 1 point. Aeros with 52, the Knights with 59. So it's now a 7-point bulge between the two. Here is Greg Walters, left side at center, across the line, ripped the shot, it's deflected, and Jakes will go back, couldn't clear. Mark Freer will turn it around and get it out at center for Vadim Slivchenko. Slivchenko trying to move by Pozo, can't get the call on the penalty as we're down to the final minute. Here is Malte. Gives to Brown, shoots it back for Malte in behind the net. Malte trying to wrap one around, that was knocked away as Arniel was on top of Malte. And here come the Aeros out at center ice. Mark Freer hits the line, and now we've got McDonald getting into it with Krupke, and here we go. This is the battle I've been waiting for. McDonald and Krupke locked up along the boards. I wanted to see how Krupke would handle himself here. Krupke locked up pretty good right now.
Krupke's a big, burly, strong guy, and you know what? McDonald's a tough customer himself, too, and I tell you what, that's a pretty good bout. But they're not really getting loose, as both of them have very good strength on the inside, and they'll both just go to the ice. That'll be it for that one.
Well, a good push and shove match, wrestling match more than anything else.
Well, they're in too close to really start throwing any punches, and they'll both go off the ice, and that'll be it for both of them. McDonald playing a good aggressive game, as you said, and Krupke having a very strong game himself. So both of those guys will head off the ice into the dressing room and head to the showers.
Well, Gene Ubriaco cannot be pleased. His team with the loss tonight, 27-26-6. They will remain 4 points back of Milwaukee, but they're at home taking on the Peoria Rivermen. And here's what started it.
Well, Gord Krupke just doesn't really want to get into it here. It's the time of the game, but one too many shoves and away they go, and it turns out to be a bit of a wrestling match. As no one, like I said, they're in too close to each other really to get any good punches or really to get going, and so they have a little bit of a wrestle, tire each other out, and both go down into the dressing room. And Dave Tippett will find another win. Has not, since he's started coaching, I don't believe he has lost 2 in a row. He is in consecutive games, or games after losing a game, he has at least got a shootout loss in his next game, and has done quite a considerable job since coming in to the Houston Aero as a head coach. He is 10-6-3, make that 11 with the win tonight, 6-3. It's a 5-3-2 mark at home, bettering a 5-16-1 start at the Summit for the beginning of the year, and they've improved in pretty much every area.
This will be points in 3 straight for the Houston Aeros, but it'll be points in 6 out of their last 7. And they can't seem to gain really any ground on Atlanta because they're playing well. And now we're going to get a fight between Jack Duffy and Gord Donnelly. And Donnelly wailing away with a left. Donnelly with a big right hand and another left. They grapple some more. Donnelly hitting him with so many rights. Duffy begging for a left, and Donnelly obliges with a left and then takes him down to the ice. Duffy holding on for dear life.
And I think he picked a bone with a little more chicken on it than he could chew. And Donnelly gave him a little bit of a feeding, and then they'll go. And people throwing things from the stands.
No,
Was that?
Did that come from the Chicago bench?
It might have. It was a water bottle. I didn't know what that was for a second. I thought it might have been a piece of the chair or something. But both of those guys will go off, and so we see some festivities late in this game. And actually, I'm glad they waited till now for it to happen. I wouldn't want to have seen that happen with like 10 minutes left, because that would have really slowed things down going into the last part of this game. But the game kind of held on and we did pretty well right down the stretch here. And I guess guys are starting to get their frustrations out. This is the last time these guys will see each other this year, unless, of course, they run into each other in the playoffs. And with the way the Aeros are playing, you never know. They really might make that stretch run that everyone's talking about. They've already started it. They just need a little bit of help from some other teams to knock off the Atlanta Knights a bit.
Facing off right side of netminder Wendell Young, as Troy Gamble watches on, and another terrific performance from him. Conroy centering a line with Jakes, and I'm looking at Jakes out there, but I'm trying to see what Chicago's got out there. I don't think Jakes is going to pick a thing with anybody here. And
well, Kevin Grant's out there too. He certainly can handle himself. And Miles O'Connor, who I guess we've dubbed as the Esa Tikkanen of the IHL, he's out there and he really mixes it up as well as doing his job. So they've got some guys who can handle themselves, and I think that's about it for the night as far as festivities are concerned.
Yeah, I don't see Chicago having anybody out there that's going to drop the mitts. Here is Miles O'Connor turning back in behind his net. 18 seconds to go. O'Connor is back in his own end, going for a little skate. And the Houston Aeros are going to get points in 3 straight hockey games. Right side for Maurice. Push the puck up ice and across the line, and that is the hockey game. Horn sounds, and this one is over. So Mike Maurice with 3 goals tonight, and the heroic effort of him and his teammates tonight. Troy Gamble making 31 saves tonight on 32 shots, and the Houston Aeros go on to the big 5-1 win. And Greener, I'll tell you what, this is very sweet for them, taking it into another week off before a big weekend against the Michigan K-Wings and the Orlando Solar Bears. We'll have the post-game wrap-up show when we return. 5-1 Aeros back after this.
Is a superstar spokesman what makes Oshman's Super Sports USA? Dream on. Oshman's is supersized and super fun. Why, you can play your favorite sport right in the store. Shoot hoops, hit golf balls, swing a bat, or a racket. Or get your kicks 100 other fun ways. Think there's a more super sports store than Oshman's Super Sports? In your dreams. The dream starts at Oshman's with 13 Houston area locations.
$39 is not much money, but $39 down buys you a new Dodge in Tomball.
$39 down gets you a Chrysler Plymouth, a Jeep in Tomball with no payments for 90 days.
$39 down is no problem on a Ford. Less overhead and 35 acres of vehicles to choose.
Get into a Chevy or Geo at $39 down, and we'll pay off your trade no matter what you owe.
McCollum's Dodge City Dodge.
Jimmy Copeland, Chrysler Plymouth, Jeep Eagle.
Tomball Ford, Tomball.
Parkway Chevrolet, Tomball.
We're the Tomball Bunch.
Got lunch!
Mr. Quinn, any advice for hungry young actors?
You know, true greatness comes from within. I mean, you can't see it, but you can smell it and taste it. You gotta have it inside, deep down, hidden.
You're so passionate about acting.
Who's talking about acting? I'm talking about pizza.
The new triple-decker pizza from Pizza Hut. Hidden inside 2 thin crusts is a 6-cheese blend for a huge cheese taste.
Acting's easy for me, too. Really? Well, then act like you're getting us more pizza.
When you need an auto part, you don't need to search high and low.
78 T-Bird V8, in the driveway, busted water pump. 351 or 400. I thought they both had the same pump. He was going to go home and check his engine. But that high-low guy had a good idea. Said I should take both pumps and just return the one that didn't fit. He could get a water pump anywhere. What he needed was high-low.
UPN 20 Saturday Night on Ice has been sponsored by Southwest Airlines, by Columbia Healthcare Partners, by Chrysler Plymouth, by Dodge, by Jeep Eagle, and by Whataburger. The Rosemont Horizon quickly emptying. The Aeros win it tonight by a score of 5-1. And let's take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines Just Plain Smart play of the game. This was the third of the night for Mike Maurice.
And it starts off with DiPietro stripping the puck from Malte and Bancroft, and unselfishly gives it to Maurice. He knows he already has 2 goals, wants him to get that third, and he certainly does. He puts it up over the glove of Wendell Young, and Maurice with his third of the game. He kind of went for the cycle. He had a shorthanded one, which that was a power play goal and an even strength, so he did it in the right fashion.
You look at tonight's effort, and clearly the Aeros got a great effort. 3 guys, 3 lines going tonight. We talked about Mike Maurice, and this is something the Aeros need to build. I guess perhaps the only negative thing out of all this is that the Aeros are going to have another week off without any games.
Well, and certainly you can look at it in 2 ways. Yeah, negative in the fact that maybe the Aeros don't want that time off, but that time off will give some of their injured guys time to heal. Plus, it'll give them a chance to work on some things. I know Dave Tippett always seems to find something that he wants to work on because he's the kind of coach that really studies the stats quite a bit.
And you talk about injured guys. We had Mike Gill on in the second intermission. He has another week to heal. Sylvain Turgeon, it's hard to say what's going to be his story, but you get these guys back, and that's going to be a good run through the playoffs, especially Atlanta losing in a shootout tonight.
And not to mention Graham Townsend, who's always a big player and big in every way in front of that net of the opposing team.
It's been unbelievable, the man games missed. It's time to look at our final stats. They're brought to you by your local Texas Jeep and Eagle dealers. 41-32, the Aeros outshoot the Chicago Wolves. Power plays, Aeros finish 2 of 6. The Wolves finish 1 of 4. That was their only goal of the night as they fall by a score of 5-1. Greener, thanks for your help tonight, and our thanks to you for joining us. The Aeros win it by a score of 5-1. The executive producer and director of Houston Aeros hockey is Paul Bykowski. Tonight's game has been directed by John Toohey. Remote production facilities provided by KY3. Transmission services provided by the Hughes Television Network. Saturday Night on Ice continues next Saturday from the Summit, March 2nd, when the Aeros take on the Orlando Solar Bears. Coming up next on UPN 20, it's Amen. And for our radio listeners on KPRC, we return you to your regularly scheduled programming. For Mike Greenlay and all the staff at UPN 20, this is Adam Gordon saying thanks for watching Houston Aeros Hockey. So long, everybody.
This